Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
Experience.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar.
Welcome to the party.
And Simon.
What is going on, y'all?
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. But first, Kamar would like to read off the new Patreons.
What up, old listeners? Welcome, new listeners. This is the time of the episode where I like to thank the people that matter to me the most, the franchise, and that's the Patreons. This week's no different. I want to give a shout out right away off the bat to, and I think people make up these names to
Do you?
stop me. A shout
Simon,
out
you'll
to
love this one.
Michael Imbarono.
Not that one.
Michael
Shout out.
Imbarono.
Thank you, Michael.
Shout
Thanks
outs,
so much.
Michael.
Sorry, Kamar, just fucking...
No, that's part of the allure of joining the Patreon. Kamar butchers your name.
Or it's Imbernon.
Okay.
I mean, or it's none of the above.
Okay, excellent.
Michael, love you. Then next to Kyle Chinchichera. Kyle Chinchichera, we love you. Thank you. You look at me like surprised that was close.
Well, I didn't look at any of them. So I only saw the one, so I don't...
Kyle Chinchichera.
Thank you, Kyle, so much. Again, sorry for Kamar.
And then we got Easy Patrick Owens. Fuck, welcome. I wonder if he's related to Gary Owens or any Owens that we know. Patrick Owens, welcome to team.
Thanks, Patrick. Can you say hi to your Uncle Gary for us?
And welcome aboard to Andrew Middleton.
Andrew, thanks so much.
Patreons, you guys make my
What
call.
am I
You missed
waiting
one. You
on?
missed one.
I miss a upgrade.
You missed a new Patreon. Winds of Change.
What? I've dropped the ball here.
I'm not crazy. I saw that pop up this week, and I was excited as
I
hell.
want to change all my handles to that.
I'm so sorry. No less a new Patreon. Welcome to the team. Winds of Change.
There we go. See, almost missed the best one. Simon's so amped.
Don't know how I missed that. I can't believe that, but that's a dedicated Patreon to Simon. Thank you to all the existing Patreons and
I like how conveniently Kamar left that one out.
Yeah, you like that? Very CIA
That's
of
not
him.
good.
If they're
Conspiracy.
not a barbarian, what the fuck do you call those
Barbarians,
people?
yeah. He's a real
Barbarians.
shill, this guy,
Shut
huh?
up.
He just doesn't want anything to do with
your
it.
support's everything. I also want to give a shout to Tyrannosaurus Rex. He slid into my DMs like a drunk white girl, like Saturday morning, I think it was. Told me everything wrong with the show and stuff, but I love you, and like crazy rants. And I want to give him a shout out because this will be coming out on.
The best is if he sent it to you, he's obviously shitting on us.
He shit on me too. He didn't know it was me at first, but this will be coming out on 420.
Yes, this episode will, yeah.
And I don't think we're going to do
happy
anything
420.
crazy about it, but happy 420.
Well, I'm going to
everyone.
smoke a bunch of joints today to make up for it. How about that, Kay?
That sounds great. Simon.
That's what we're going to do. We'll get so high. We're still high on Tuesday when this comes out. And
So I don't know anything about this guy who was shitting on us, but I have said for a long time that the name of the Toronto Raptors should have been the Tyrannosaurus Rexes.
that should be like an Urban Dictionary. Like if you're in the know, that is the name of the team.
Kind of like how our stadium is the Palladium.
Was.
The opposite.
No,
The
Matt,
the opposite
if you
of that,
know,
yeah.
you know.
You know. Do you guys notice that this
You know?
week you could cast the episodes?
What, like on your TV?
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about that. No, I didn't.
And now you cannot.
Oh, that's good. Good for them.
Because it totally didn't work.
Of course not.
I casted the Mcofsky episode onto my TV,
Yeah.
and it was like,
Oh, really?
video went, but no sound.
Oh, no, that's how she talks.
No, it was extra bad.
That was a
and,
live representation of the show.
Now, if you look at that episode, you cannot do that anymore. So Spotify tried something and fucked it up, and it's back to the drawing board.
I also want to say, numbers-wise, not like it was a crazy increase, but we saw a good increase on the YouTube, the Patreon, and the fucking Reddit. So shout-outs to all of you for the call to action.
The little podcast that can.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you notice that the neon light was turned off.
Yeah.
Too
Of course.
bright.
Yeah, too bright.
Work in progress.
But then they turned down all the lights. Like the Colion Noir episode was noir.
No,
Yeah, that's the best way you can say that.
I think that it actually looks cool behind him without the light on. Like I found the light distracting, agreed, but I like that's a cool sign, man. I'm into that.
It is. Listen, I agree. It loses a lot of its luster when it's not lit up. It's a super cool sign for sure.
I don't know. It's that old style of neon where it's painted on behind. So I don't know. It's like a work art.
Here's the problem as I see it. Where their TV is, or where I assume their TV is, because I haven't really watched the new studio a lot, but like, you know, the old studio, the TV, it would be like guest Joe TV or TV, depending on where you're looking. That's where the sign should be, where the TV is. So that when they have the Jamie shot looking at the two guests, the thing in the middle is the lit up sign. Very eye catching. It works.
Yep, that works for me.
I think that's how it should be. And then they should have a TV like above each Joe and above the guest, so that if you need to look at something, it's not like money's a problem over
Also,
there.
because it's a super cool sign. Sorry, Kamar, where it's the neon on top, and then the bottom is where
The marquee. Yeah, it's so cool.
And
Yeah.
he could be writing like a different.
He could have the
like,
guest in every.
thought,
Or yeah,
the guest or whatever. You know.
I know.
You could have low prof monitors in the desk.
Oh, I mean, listen, money's
That-
not an issue, of
'cause
course.
the big screen doesn't work for the viewers or
They
listeners
definitely
at all.
should
No.
do that, Kamar. That's a brilliant
Then,
idea.
then you have your neon there, lighting up our lives.
Yeah.
Video right there, so eyesight sort of maintains. I mean,
You'd
It's
think,
not like
you'd
he's
think after
show-
20 years on the UFC, he'd be aware that having a little monitor in front of you
It's
helps.
Everyone's
not
a
like they're
backseat producer.
showing us videos. It's not like they're playing music.
they're not playing music, but they do try to show clips of videos.
Nah. I find that he like shows them and most of the time doesn't even let us see them.
Yeah, no, nothing's.
Yes. Oh no, it's frustrating on either end, especially if you're listening. You're like, oh, I want to check that out, and then you go there and there's nothing to see there. You gotta stop the whole thing and look it up yourself.
What's crazy to me is and again, Spotify can't even get the video right, but my assumption is that in the future they'll have like a pop-up video type interactive show where a hyperlink, Jamie will pop a hyperlink up, or it'll be automatic. Whatever link Jamie pulls up will pop up on the screen. You can click it and then go to it.
Well, all bets are off if he were to, like we've discussed in the past, go on a paywall or like start his own streaming service where he can do whatever he wants behind. You know what I mean?
Well, no, because this is the thing that you're not getting is even if he has his own streaming service, you can still get hit with copyright infringement.
You can't play the music because people are paying for it.
Yeah, it's not just like it's only Spotify and YouTube that care about copyright. Like if Joe had his own network, it would be massive, and he would be getting copyright dings all the time for doing that.
But
So-
maybe you could work out a deal where he pays a licensing fee for it or so. Anyways.
But that's why I was saying the hyperlink works so well because everyone gets their money, everyone gets their views, and the listener gets to be. I don't know. It's just a thought. I'm stupid.
Disappointing, nothing happened. New Offspring album came out.
Are you joking?
Nope.
What the fuck are we doing here?
Is this 1996?
And you know,
Were they at the Bieber?
Is this your week? This is what happened in your week?
I was surprised to see a new Offspring album came out. It actually sounds kind of cool if you liked Offspring, and you know, restrictions are lessening and everything's sort of loosening up and returning back to normal. So, you know, life's a beach.
So your week was good then.
Fantastic.
Sounded like a post-show thing. Simon, how was your week?
Did you ask him how his week was?
I just finished it off there. I said it was great. Everything's loosening up. Restrictions are lessened. We're doing well.
How do you figure restrictions are less?
I'm being
we're-
sarcastic to the fucking
I was
max
gonna
here.
say. I was like, we're locked down harder than we've ever been.
We're having to do this remotely.
Yeah,
Yeah. And thank God for Matt putting this together. Thank you.
Oh, way to go, Skype.
yeah.
Oh no, what's it called?
It's called Zoom.
We don't use Zoom.
Well, then we're not doing this remote, are we?
No,
Simon?
we use that other
Discord
one.
is Discord, yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
Simon.
you.
Okay.
Thank you, Kamar.
We use Zoom for the first two. Don't forget. At the
Actually,
very.
that's what I forgot to say. You guys remember Donnell Rawlings
No,
Yes.
who is he? Refresh my memory.
interviewing, interrupted the RZA?
Yeah.
He was doing a Kill Tony where he was wasted and they were having a roast back with this black guy. And he goes, "You fucked up with the RZA for me." And he had to stop, stand up, and go, no, this is serious. And he walked off stage after pleading his case on what happened with the RZA.
What a bitch.
It was almost a bitch, but he was so wasted.
Yeah, I get
he
it.
probably woke up and remember, I did what?
Yeah, I know. Listen, I used to drink, and yeah, I was a mess when I drank, so I
But
totally
it was,
understand.
It was just nice to see someone publicly address it out in the open. Like,
Yeah.
we've all been murmuring about it, but this
Yeah.
guy came out and said it, and it made Darnell feel away. That was my week.
Simon, how was your week, sir?
My week was fine, Matthew. Thank you. Yeah, heavy lockdowns. That's crazy. Things are crazy here. But I was listening to this whole thing about somebody describing the Matrix, and I thought you might find this interesting. So he was saying, don't necessarily look at the Matrix as the simulation, the way you would think about it, a computer program running. But the Matrix is like a set of rules that are in place above the real world.
Okay.
I don't know, man. It's just an interesting kind of
Like the laws of physics?
Kind of. So he was saying and listen, I'm going to butcher this, I'm sure, but something along the lines of value is created in the Matrix. Fruit, just as an example, costs 25 cents a strawberry, but there's no accounting on the other end for the fact that fruit is growing off a tree. Or water is another example he gave, where water, we just get it out of a tap, but in the real world, water has energy attached to it. And there's no accounting for that energy. Yeah, whatever. Anyways.
I'm trying to follow.
Did it sound better at the time or something?
I'm sure. Anyways, it was just an interesting way of looking at things. And then the way you break out of the Matrix is by removing yourself from those set of rules that they've put.
So there's a way out.
Through meditation?
No.
Well,
Einstein's portal.
Maybe
Spaceship?
through meditation. I guess that's up to everybody to figure out.
No meat and cheese today, buddy.
No meat and cheese today, buddy.
Anyways, lots of time to think about.
Interesting.
So you're coming around to
infiniteness of the
the
universe.
simulation there, Simon?
No. I'm just that it was interesting to me how it was just a different set of rules than I was thinking about.
I moved closer to the simulation because I saw Lana Rhoades say she believes in the simulation.
So the porn queen says she believes in it. Now you're a believer.
I want to be in a position if ever came up in conversation I can support her and might hit it off over that sort of thing.
Oh,
Gotcha.
and let me take this opportunity to, okay, I'll never get the time back that I spent watching the Nelk Boys.
Oh, come on now.
Okay, Kamar, dude, I don't even, I want this light not to be blocking me so I can look you directly in the face. I don't even understand you, man. Those guys are the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever seen
But did you see the moment where the one guy thought it might be Bigfoot?
That guy never, okay, either way, I don't care.
That was worth it to me.
Those guys are totally what's wrong with everything.
They're a breath of
and
fresh
the
air.
fact that you idolize these dudes, you are a 14-year-old girl.
I'm just happy they're Canadian. And
Dude, it's embarrassing that they're Canadian.
Can I say this?
those Lamborghinis aren't embarrassing.
You see, again, result doesn't gross, man.
But
Gross.
here's my disconnect though. Kamar, this is where you lose me, and it's not I don't care. You watch the Nelk Boys, it doesn't bother me one bit. I don't think less of, whatever. This is where you lose me, is I can't watch them. See, here's the thing. We had this conversation a couple weeks ago where I said I watch a lot of mansion tours on YouTube. And you were just why? That's ridiculous. That
No, it wasn't. I was talking about a mansion at the time.
Okay, fine. Well, one of you thought it was ridiculous that's what I watch a lot. And the reason I watch it is because I might never have one. Probably a 1% chance I'll ever have one. But I look at it like it's something I strive for, whatever. When I watch the Nelk Boys, my issue is that there's something I can never be, which is young and rich and famous, right? So for me, it's a past thing where I can't achieve what they've achieved. So I don't really look at it I don't know. I see why you like it because
It's just Jackass.
I know, but I think you look at it like
It's not even as good as
It's
Jackass.
better than Jackass because they show everything. Those guys were all getting wasted behind the scenes, and they just show each other hurting each other. These guys hurt each other and show the party. I don't know.
I don't even get it though. And then their whole clothing line, which is just a statement about sending them money. The whole thing is just it's really weird, man.
It's
It makes
unbelievable how successful it
the
is.
internet is just has made this a crazy world.
But Kamar,
it's
can I bring
definitely
up
a different generational thing.
Well, can I bring something up though that you just said that I find odd is you talked about how Jackass only showed them hurting themselves and it didn't show the party after the fact. If you've seen Bam Margera lately, the party after the fact killed most of them.
It doesn't end well.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like
I swear to God, when I was watching Jackass, I never was like, these guys are really irresponsible and something bad. Like I just enjoyed it for fucking the debauchery it is.
yeah, but my point is you were also
could
20
separate-
back then. That's my only thing is I'm not angry at you either. We're just
I've
having a
always
discussion.
liked pranks and stuff.
Fair enough.
And like,
I wasn't berating you. I just said for
No,
me,
that,
I
that
didn't.
was me. If my 17-year-old son had come to me and was like, Dad, you got to watch the Nelk Boys, I would have got that. You know what I mean? Like, I get that he would kind of think that was funny, maybe, but
I guess I just think like Dana White.
Listen, we all get older different. I get it, Kamar. Like you sent us that podcast of like those. None of them could have been over 25.
The podcast of
You sent me some. You sent Simon and I a podcast. You're like, you got to listen to this kid. He's a prophet. You misspelled
oh
prophet.
the Michael Gruen.
Yes.
I didn't misspell it. I used it the wrong
Okay,
the wrong
fine,
prophet.
yes.
but that would have been good if you were saying he was a money prophet.
He
Well,
is
he
a money
is. He
prophet,
makes tons
though.
of money.
Well, then
yeah,
that's
yeah.
amazing.
Did you watch it?
I didn't, but I know what you're talking about. And
He's crazy.
either way, my point is like, if you're watching that because like you're going to take something business wise away from it or make your life better, then that's fine too. It's very tough for me to listen to a podcast of a couple of like rich 24-year-olds.
Well, those
That's
guys
all.
though the one guy was trying to be funny and got blown away because this guy is talking about how he's having power lunches with the head of Disney, with the head of Miramax, with the head of like.
What was
This guy is so respected in the world of business.
What was
But
the
what does that do for you? Just out of curiosity.
He mentioned one thing on a way to make money off of selling real estate. Like he was just talking about what is a waste of time, what is valuable. He started a thing called peer pop, where you can now pay someone to promote your TikTok or get paid to promote someone else's song, whatever. But it's like this whole little industry where we could have Shaquille O'Neal shout out our podcast for like $500 if we wanted to do that.
What was the first thing that made the Nelk Boys famous? Do you know, Kamar?
They were stealing
I thought Steve
soccer
will
balls. No, he came in way later.
Okay.
They were stealing soccer balls from like rec league games in football uniforms in Mississauga.
Simon, they do a lot of those, like go up to someone in a grocery store and like fake sneeze on the back of their neck.
I watched
Oh,
a
those
bunch
gotta
of
be
it,
fair.
man.
Sure.
I couldn't believe, or maybe they do, that they just don't get the shit kicked out of them way more. But like they were going up to,
Well, they're in Canada for most of them, and they're Canadian.
oh
So
my
it's-
God, guys, I forgot to tell you, huge Matrix moment. Not the kind of Matrix I was telling you about before, but the Matrix we usually talk about. I'm driving over here, come up behind a guy at a light. It's green and he's not turning even though he has his signal on. So I give him a healthy, just a nice little tick tick on my horn. And he gives me the finger.
Oh no.
So I follow him.
So
for
you
a
went and
whole
found a
long
guy in his
time.
boxer.
Why?
I come up beside him. I tell him to roll down the window. I say, buddy, if I didn't have something to do, I would follow you around all day. No, I made that part up. But yeah, somebody really gave me the finger on the way over here.
Who cares? Fuck.
Oh, I'm just telling you.
I know. I just mean like when people give me the finger, I'm like,
Those
I don't give a
guys are
fuck.
out there.
But you followed him to what?
No, I didn't follow him, Kamar. I just kept
Just being funny.
driving. Yeah.
It's not gonna follow him. The guy was probably a guy in his boxer himself.
If he's
they're
going to
going the
give
same
me the
direction.
finger, it probably means he wants to fight more than I
I was
do.
just gonna say that.
Well,
yeah.
I'm sorry you didn't get a kick on the Nuck Boys. And yeah, you will not get that time back.
Yeah, no, I will not get that time back. And listen, I tried to find like where you would have seen the Jackass kind of value of it all.
No, I understand
and
where he sees
failed
that.
to see it. I watched the wine one.
The Mexican
I watched
wine
the Bigfoot one.
Wow, you really went deep, Simon.
I watched.
You watched the Mexican wine one?
I watched the best clips of 2020.
When he
That's
jumps on
it.
the table, I lose my mind every time.
Dude, it's so like choreographed and rehearsed.
It isn't
and,
though.
like,
The reactions you can tell, the people are like, what
know,
the fuck is going on
I get that,
here?
and they're doing it at a Mexican thing where those guys could all be cartels, so they're taking a huge chance. But like, again, I just don't see.
You're too mature.
And they sell a lot of that clothing. I take it.
A lot.
Yeah, like I just don't get that part of it either.
It's the model though, not to the pranks or whatever, but if you get successful, that's sort of how it works, or one way to do it.
And real quick, Kamar, going back to what I said last week, you have to monetize your own YouTube videos. They have to not, but keep in mind, you cannot, whether it's monetized or not, you can't have any copywritten shit on there.
I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it.
Well, just again, if you don't have a lot of views,
No, they play copywritten music. They don't
Who,
get
the
any
Nelk
money.
Boys?
Yeah, they don't get any money. I don't know what they do.
How was your week, Matty?
Yeah, how was your week?
I don't know. I didn't do shit.
So philosophical.
He does.
Well, I mean, we're locked down. There's not fucking anything to do. They won't let you even go to a fucking, like, you're not even allowed outdoor activities. It's fucking retarded.
You can go walk your dog.
Yeah, but like, I can't go skateboard. That would be fun. Like, go to the park, you know, at 6 a.m. when no one's there. But no, I don't want to get fucking arrested.
$700 ticket.
But they said they're not going to do it, which is a real turning point.
We'll see.
Well, Simon, if you look into it, they're not going, like, when they ticket you, people pay. The ones that don't never go to court because they can't win in court.
Again, are you going to go and skateboard? No, you're going to just stay home and fucking.
No, my point is just that the ticket itself is fugazi because they can't make you pay it even in a court of law. If you took it to court, they would lose. And they won't take it to court because if they lose one, they're done. Either way, we're not doing very well here.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah. So, that was a long How Was Your Week? Kamar, you want to go over the guests for me?
I'd love to. Thanks for asking. First, we start off the week with Joe's side piece, 1633, Ali Mcofsky. Followed by Navy SEAL turned author, 1634, Jack Carr.
This fucking guy.
I like how
this
he
fucking
slipped
guy
that in there.
Just right
Way
for the
to go,
jugular.
Kay. Way
Right
to
for the
go.
jugular, yeah.
1635, a young woman who's decided to pursue feats and adventures of endurance to make the world a better place. Katie Spotz. And finish off with know your audience and what's going on in the news lately. 1636, Colion Noir.
Yeah. Unreal.
It wasn't just it was not the time. I mean, look at the way the news is going now. There'll never be a time. But yeah, that was the week, and it was a bit of a letdown.
Jesus Christ.
A bit of a letdown. Okay, well, let's try to rate this week.
Kamara announcing those episodes was the best part about this week.
Yeah.
Roll the let's
Roll
thank
the
sponsors.
Oh, my God. It was so bad. All right, let's start with Kamar then. You rate the week. You're probably going to rate it the highest.
Yeah, I give it a 2.
That will be the highest. Simon?
Yeah, I think I got to give it a 1, man.
I'm going to meet you right there, pal. It cannot and will not get more than a 1 for me. And listen, I got to say this to the listeners. Like, especially if you're new, we don't normally, well, okay, if you're new in the last month, we don't normally just shit on Joe. It just seems like the last month has been kind of a trying one.
Very shittable.
Yeah.
There's so many other people
To interview?
Yeah.
It's fucked.
Or just have
It's
a
absolutely
have a
fucked.
conversation with, and you can have conversations. These people that you have on your podcast, just don't make it a podcast.
Hold on, though. You know what?
Yeah, just
hold on. I'm
it's
gonna
called hanging out with
hold
your
on.
friends.
Just
I'm
have
going to
a
back it
kickback.
up. I'm going to back it up a bit. I'm going to throw Joe a bone. I'm going to extend the olive branch here. We've learned that Joe books these things months in advance. Just give him the benefit of the doubt, right? So if he had Colion Noir booked months ago, I get it. The timing is terrible, but you know, Joe.
Oh no. All 4. You think were booked in advance? Like Ali Mcofsky was booked 4 months ago.
Probably not, but
So I agree with you. Most are, but these drop-ins, I don't know.
I mean, this is the problem. Here's the problem now is like the drop-ins used to just be LA comedians.
In the area,
Yeah, who weren't necessarily wildly political. Everyone in Texas has a serious political viewpoint, it seems, and they come to talk about it. So that seems like the drop-ins now are all politicians. Whatever, it's fine. Let's get into the week. Shall we?
you guys rated it.
Yeah, I gave it a 1. He gave it a 1. You gave it a 2.
You guys have an agreement. 1633. Joe's alleged side piece. Ali Mcofsky.
Ali Mcofsky.
26 years old.
I tried.
You killed it.
Got it.
26 years old. She's on the clock. To mature a bit. Do you know what I mean? No, you guys aren't listening to me?
Yeah, no, I'm listening, Kamar. I'm waiting for you to finish your point.
Do you think like she's sort of acting like a little girl? Like, help me, Joe.
I
Kamar, where were you when you were 26? Where was I?
I was 26. I was managing a restaurant. I was doing well. I knew what taxes were. Those are better years.
Okay, I think you're giving yourself far more credit.
What do you want us to say here, though, Matt? Are you sticking up for her?
I'm just
Are
saying,
you-
when I was 26, I couldn't do my own taxes. I was a drunk at a bar. Kamar was a drunk at a bar. Like, you give yourself. When was Patty's wedding? What year did Patty get married?
I don't know.
Okay, well, that's a good example of. I think you should look at yourself back then and maybe
Okay,
give Ali
you're
Mcofsky a little
defending
more
her.
credit.
No,
well,
no, I will not.
okay, fine. Every young person that like you think only the young people that are wildly successful, and she is successful, right?
Is she? I don't know. She said she had to move. She moved back to her parents' house, but wanted to kill her mother. Thought that was a little ungrateful. Like she should be so happy that she has a home that she can go back to.
Yeah.
Like she just seemed.
But it's weird because if Joe says something like that, it's a joke. She's a comedian. You don't take any of it as jokes.
I felt the last hour she sort of got serious and stuff, but at the beginning she was like, she didn't even know that Ronald Reagan ran for president. Like,
Well, she was an idiot but she's 26. I mean,
I know, and she's on the clock. So by 30, she should be a well-rounded young woman. If she comes back in 30 and is like this again, I don't know what to tell you.
Is she just so hilarious, though?
That's the only explanation.
Because I think what Kamar's driving at is how on earth is she on the Joe Rogan show? Like,
I mean, again, it's Joe's show. If he likes someone, he has them on.
But this is what I'm asking. Like, usually Joe has a pretty good eye for talent, for sure. Is she like wildly funny? I have never seen her.
But here's the thing: Joe thinks she's funny, right? Like Joe thought Joey Diaz was funny, so he had him on all the time. He obviously thinks she is funny and is trying to give her an audience so that we all think she's funny. I don't think she's funny, or that funny. How about that? Okay, like I'll throw that out there, but I'm not going to sit here and shit all over her for being young.
Has he done that before where he's taken like such a noob and just thrown them out to the
I
the
sort of look
big
at it.
leagues
He's
like
had
that?
a number of comics on, and some you've never heard of again, and some you hear of again. He obviously has, and I would say it's more like they have a
father-daughter
older
type.
uncle or uncle
Weird
investment in her. Like she's open for Santino and stuff. Like I think she's a good opener. I don't think she's a headliner yet. Like she just didn't seem like she's taking it seriously. What miffed me is when she said to Joe, I don't know about this thing in Texas because people might come here as a shortcut.
Mm-hmm. No, they might see it as,
But
if you come here, they'll see it as a
But
shortcut.
she took Kill Tony as the ultimate shortcut.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
no, I think
her work works for her, but
I think you're
misunderstanding what she
You're
was saying.
misunderstanding what
she was
she's
saying. People are
saying,
going to
yeah.
go there assuming it's a shortcut, and they're going to have a rude awakening, realizing that there's a lot of work to be done.
no, that's not even what I think she was
Okay.
saying. I think she was saying, like, if I move to Texas, people, and I succeed, people are going to assume that there was some shortcut involved because you've
no.
made a Shangri-La for comedians to prosper. I don't think there's a problem with any of that, man. Like,
no, I thought she was hating on new up and coming
no,
comedians
I really don't think
not
so.
investing to come up.
I'd like to. I see how you would like to paint that picture, but I don't think that's what she was doing.
But how can you make a comment about her work ethic? You just said it seems like she doesn't take it seriously, or she's not working hard.
She was like, I always want to be a headliner, but I didn't know I'd have to book plane tickets and do business, and it just seemed like she was sort of naive. And then she like needed Joe's validation, like, you think I'm funny, eh? You just didn't put me on like as a favor or whatever.
I thought all of that was very odd.
I hated the episode.
I thought it was odd. I felt like she was like having a conversation that they would have it totally off camera or air.
It's like
or
when
whatever.
she's not in Joe's orbit or whatever, she might be feeling like that sort of imposter syndrome or something. But she's headlining clubs and like touring the country. Like she's doing fine, but then she comes
she's not
off like,
headlining clubs, is she?
that's what she said she's doing.
I thought she was just opening for bigger acts.
And that, as an opener, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if you suck, but no one's going to have someone suck. But she's headlining. Like I just don't think she's a headliner yet. I think she's an opener. And
yeah, but we
she
know how
should
you
do
feel
that.
about young, successful comedians. It's a biased
I
opinion.
know, but what's her name? Bites last week was a totally different thing.
Why?
Because she did it for 10 years before Joe walked to the club and saw her excited.
And this girl's white. Kamar doesn't have a problem with white comedians.
That too.
So that kind of throws that out the window.
No, he does. He has a problem with anyone who he feels has jumped the line in any way, shape, or form and isn't one of the top, like...
Well, I mean, in all fairness, this is a huge jump. Like,
But
the
who are
jump
listen,
doesn't get bigger
But
than
hold on,
this.
I just because we don't like her doesn't mean that there aren't people out there willing to pay to see her headline. Like that, I understand what you're saying. I don't find her particularly funny. Kamar doesn't find her funny. You don't find her funny. There is an agreement there.
No, I think she's funny. I've heard her.
Okay, there is no agreement there.
I've heard her material. I just don't think she's a headliner. That's all.
Yeah.
Just like Brendan Schaub's not a headliner, but he's a comedy special.
But Brendan Schaub is Okay, well, that's a
Most
terrible
25.
example.
Yeah, you know what? It doesn't even matter.
No, go. What were you gonna say? Most
Nothing. I just like. I think we forget that she's 25 and 25.
How old is Pete Davidson?
Not very.
How old? That's an extra question.
I don't know. 35. Is he that old?
I doubt it.
I think he's that old.
No way.
What does that have to do with why Pete Davidson?
Well, because he's young, and it doesn't seem like there's as much of an issue. Like it doesn't. I don't know if Pete.
She could not host that fight last night and be entertaining like he did. Like to compare those two is ridiculous. But I think he's much older than her.
I'm gonna tell you how old he is just for
Here we
fun.
go.
Just for fun.
His favorite album is a Kid Cudi album. He cannot be 36. It's fucking possible.
27.
He was born in
They're the same age.
1993.
They're the same age.
He's so much more talented than she is. And I don't think it's a guy-girl thing. Like, did you hear when they were talking about Kat from Fighter and the Kid? It's $100,000
to show her feet.
From the OnlyFans.
Yeah.
What? $100,000?
She it let the air out of her. She's like, oh, I'd rather do that. This is just what I got out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think again, you go in with these eyes where you're not going to see it any other way. Like I don't think she has a chance with you going in.
Why? I just listened to the episode.
Come on, okay, fine, fair enough. Yeah, listen, your opinion is you're valid.
Like, you want to defend her to the end, but you didn't like the episode.
Nope.
You just don't like my opinion of her.
No, because I know that with these people, you go in like this is what I don't get, Kamar, is that like I said, you'll send Simon and I a podcast of three 24-year-olds sitting around, and you're like, these guys are the shit.
No,
they know what they're doing.
Fine,
either
guy.
way, but you're like, this guy knows what he's doing. He's
22 and he's a multimillionaire. You can't compare him to her.
Kamar, what do you know about this guy's upbringing?
He was born in New York City.
Okay.
He made his money selling, I told you this, Minecraft or something like that.
Okay.
He's great friends with Gary Vee. He's a mover and shaker. Like he's in Forbes, 30 under 30.
You didn't answer any of my questions though. Are his parents rich? Did he start with money? Like these all matter.
No. He's self-made and he's 22 years old and he looks like John Belushi.
Okay.
It's just a riot. This is why we listen to people on Joe Rogan. Like they listen to someone who's interesting and like, oh, how'd you do it? What methods did you employ to get to where you're at? And we can listen to and sort of take in, right?
Yeah, you're just angry that she's employed the same methods you have.
I'm not angry at all. This is just my personal opinion.
Okay,
of
fine.
This
I'm sorry.
podcast.
Your opinion of her is low because you feel that she's done the same amount of work you have, but she's on Joe somehow.
She's done less, but it's
How do you figure she's done less work than you?
She's been doing it for 6 years.
So what? I bet she's
I've been
done
doing it for 12 years.
I bet she's done 50 times more sets than you.
Okay, Matt. I don't know what you're upset about with me, but
But you have to agree. You don't agree that matters?
I agree that my feelings on this podcast.
No, Kamar, you have to agree that just because you have more time in the game doesn't mean jack shit. If I play hockey for 10 years, but you play hockey for 5 years, but you do it.
I agree with you, Matt. I agree.
Oh my God. Okay.
This girl was a dum-dum.
That's what I thought, but
That's
I agree.
That's the
allowed to
part
have that opinion
you're missing
because
here.
I've done stand-up comedy. I don't even get it.
Oh my God, Kamar. It's fine. Have your opinion. I don't care. I genuinely don't care that you didn't like this girl at all. I didn't like this podcast, but I'm not going to sit here and shit all over her because Joe is a friend of hers. Like,
You don't have to.
It's weird that Joe's a friend of hers. That's what we should be talking about. It's odd.
If she was 17 and Joe's hanging around with her, that'd be disconcerting, eh? Like, there's no reason.
I mean, that's a totally different thing.
No,
well, no, if he's paying for, listen, if he had, technically speaking, it's like Matt Gaetz. If he pays for her to go to a different state and they have sex in that state and she's 16 or 17,
yeah,
that's
but Joe's
sex
not
trafficking.
having sex with this girl.
Well, we said side piece to begin with, didn't we?
Wow.
wow, that is just
Okay.
It's definitely not.
Wow.
just with the Matt Getz situation. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But if you just think in general, unless it was like a family friend driving someone that asked to pick up a school, there's no reason for a grown man and a 17-year-old that don't know each other.
Scott Disick.
Seinfeld did that.
You know Scott.
I know. He got away with it.
I know, it's crazy.
He slipped under.
You know Scott Disick?
Yeah, Lord Disick.
Yeah,
yes.
Lord Disick. So he broke up with Courtney.
Yeah.
So by the way, I've been watching with my daughter,
Who's now dating Travis Barker?
Yeah, who's now
Scott Disick's dating Travis Barker?
He has her name on his body. But wait, listen. He breaks up with her and then starts dating a friend of the youngest Kardashian, who's like, she would have been 17 at the time.
Gross.
Yeah, right?
It's. I think, depending on the state, it could be a crime.
Well, that's what I was just saying, yeah.
Anywho. Yeah, no, I just, this was an episode I never, ever, ever would have listened to, like, in a bagillion years.
Well, especially not after the first one.
There
was no reason for her to be back this soon.
But you would
no reason.
You might see some growth
and she just
since the last episode.
Not in 6 months.
I'm with you, Kamar. Like, she not only is she like in this amazing position, right? Like she
is
caught a fucking
she's in the lightning in a bottle,
a shooting star.
Yeah.
Then she comes on Rogan and she's like totally nonplussed. You know, it seems like it's like a hassle for her to be there. And then I don't know, man. I would have like if I'm a 25-year-old and I'm going on Rogan, I would have done like a bunch of like research the week before, the month before, just learning interesting things I could talk to Joe about. So I didn't have to turn it to like a questionnaire about comedy at the end because she's already done that on the last episode. Just like, fuck, man, smarten up a little bit.
She said she was thinking of videoing her sets now. Like, how serious is she? I think she's very fortunate. I'm sure she's
I agree with
talented,
that.
and she can still fuck it up, and it'd be all her fault.
She can't though
Hold on.
because Joe.
No, she will fuck this up. So
I don't want her to fuck it up.
I know you don't, but let's say I think she will. Because like, do you think she'll be at the top of comedy ever?
I think she's going to have to like create her own content or whatever outside of just doing stand-up comedy. Like you have to be a triple threat now, and she's at the age where she should take this stuff seriously because she's all up on the bad babe. Like she knows about everything. She just wants to do stand up. There's a lot of people who just want to do stand up comedy now and think that's enough, and sadly it isn't.
When Joe takes you under his wing like that, that's like winning the fucking lottery, man.
I agree with that.
Like if you don't turn that into like everything, then you've missed a huge opportunity because Joe doesn't do that for very many people.
But this is kind of my point is it's like, I just don't know that it's always that easy though. That's what I'm saying. Like I'll use do you remember Dr. Dre when 2001 came out? Like Eminem he had just discovered Eminem a few years before. It was like Dr. Dre could do no wrong. And he had this new protege called Hitman. Remember, Hitman was all over 2001.
I don't remember.
Exactly. You don't remember. You know why? Because nothing became of Hitman. And what I'm saying is, like, it's tough. It could be tough being in her position because there's all this pressure. Like, we're sitting here like, well, she's got this lightning in a bottle. I guarantee she fucks it up. There's no way she fucking... Like, Ian Edwards, he's gotten enough exposure on Joe, and, you know, I wouldn't say he's huge.
That's different, though. He's not young.
He doesn't want to be...
I agree.
He doesn't want to be a superstar comedian.
You don't think?
I don't think.
Okay.
Like he sleeps all the time.
I get it.
He does a soccer podcast. He writes on shows.
But money?
He has his great life.
Okay, fair enough.
Because we were talking the last night, it's better to be rich than famous.
Way better.
Because fame does actually exist and wealth is something somewhat tangible if you have assets or whatever. You know what I mean?
Fuck
Fame is terrible. I'd rather own a mattress company worth $50 million than be a TikTok star.
And I hope she'd rather just be successful than famous. I'm not sure. It's like she got too much too soon.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Steak dinners, performing in a stadium, like it's. I hope the best for her. And all I said at the beginning, she's 26 years old. She's on the clock. By 30, she should be taking comedy very seriously and not be like, well, I don't know, I'm just a girl. Like, and it's an act. You know, she isn't.
That's the most poignant thing you said, Kamar, was that she's on the clock, because that's really what it is. She has this amazing opportunity where Joe has like propped her up, and now she has to fucking ride that shit into the sunset. You know.
So let me ask you though: if by 30 she's a millionaire, is that enough?
It's fantastic.
But I'm just asking. Like,
I don't know. I don't know what is.
But I'm just saying, like, what bar do we look at for you? Like, if you're riding Joe's coattails, what is the bar that we need to set for you to be considered successful? It's a genuine question too. I'm not asking. I'm not trying to like.
She'll be supporting herself.
I think she has to be like moved up in the comedy world if that's what she's trying to do, right?
Like I find Annie Letterman so much more interesting than Alan Mcofsky.
Well, she seems like she's.
But I find Annie Letterman a lot more interesting than like a lot of people, just in general. Like
No, but these are two girls that Joe has fucking.
Sure, but I find Annie Letterman more interesting than Whitney Cummings, or more interesting than
Whitney Cummings is very interesting.
Sure, but I still find Annie Letterman more interesting. Who's the leggy one?
But because Annie Letterman,
Nikki Glaser.
she's very interesting too. She's disturbed, but
I don't like
I find
Nikki
her no,
Glaser.
but I was gonna say I find
Annie Letterman's interesting because she was a wastoid, turned it around, did all this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I cannot hear any struggle. Like it was funny how she was explained to Joe how she was little Allie on the Ryan Seacrest show.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, you knew this." Like, no, I didn't. Like,
But what do you mean, Kamar? She talked about eating lunch by herself every day in the bathroom because she had no friends.
yeah, that's just high school. It's
No, that fucking sucks, man.
I never
Like,
ate lunch in the bathroom in high school.
Me either. I was with my friends all the time. Like, do you even, dude? That I don't know. I don't think it's fair to say she hasn't had struggle.
I think everyone struggles in high school. And whatever struggles she's had, they've all been rewarded with her meeting all these people, having all these opportunities. Like, I hope that doesn't hold her back, like holding on to that resent. And that's sort of her character, though. So she has to think that awkward.
Well, that's what
duckling thing.
yeah, I mean, she can ride that into-
from that made her thing, so she can.
Here's
be upset
what
about
I'm
that.
surprised about is that Joe has like so many comedians he could choose from.
Yeah.
I would think that in order to like get on the road with Joe, he'd have to think you were like really interesting. Share some like alien talk or ancient civilization talk or some things that Joe's into, you know? And I don't see her ticking those boxes.
I don't know. I
But
mean, Joe
maybe
mentioned
I'm
Joe
wrong.
said in this episode though that like I think he kind of gets off on making people.
I think it's a total father figure. See something because there's other girls that have come through on Kill Tony who haven't been taken in as much, who had just as much promised or
Like
just
Kim
as funny.
Condon?
But hold on,
Like
let's keep in
Kim
mind too. It's
Condon.
not just Joe. Like Santino and Tony also co-signed this girl, so it's not just we can't just.
But they co-sign because of Joe most of the time, no?
I don't know. I'm not in that world, so I.
It's hard to say. They obviously see more than we see in her.
That's what I'm saying. Is
But like
there's got to be
Simon
more
says,
there.
There's nothing coming out in the conversation. Like when the mics come off, if she acts totally serious, like if it's all an act, that's annoying too.
I wish this had been a much more interesting podcast. End of story.
I thought the last hour was interesting when she was like, I'm scared of my emotions. And they sort of got into it. And it turned into what we call a therapy session.
Into what we call therapy session.
But no,
This is fucking
she
guy.
was the realest she was for the 3 hours. In the beginning, she played I'm just a girl sort of role. Like, and that gets tiring very, very quickly. But, you know, she
And
kept
how
saying-
guys are looking at her on stage and sending her dick pics and stuff.
is that the harassment or struggle she's going through?
Well, I guess that's.
But she said the guy was like that. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to fuck you. Like it wasn't like he had
No,
ulterior motives.
I'm with you. I'm agreeing with you.
I don't know. Growing up in LA, she's all the best to Ali Mcofsky. I just wish I didn't have to listen to this episode. But
Well, we can all agree on
Now,
that.
and that's an agreement. All the best to Ali Mcofsky. I didn't want to have to listen to this episode.
No.
But out of it, I did
Hit
go
the
to a
button,
movie that
Maddie.
I've always wanted to find out.
Unforgiven.
Movie game!
I knew it.
It's a movie game where Matt Simon go head to head and find out what year a movie came out and how much it cost to make. And it's this year, The Unforgiven, a classic cowboy movie, I must say.
I got to
A
admit,
movie that she didn't know existed.
Well, yeah, I won't hold that against her.
Oh, I will hold that against her, Kamar.
I don't think she's into cowboy movies at all.
no, you can't hold like.
Did she know that Ronald Reagan was president?
She was born in 93 or 96. She came out after Unforgiven.
That doesn't matter,
Yes, it does.
does it?
Yeah, it really does.
You know, I try and
To know when a movie comes out
educate
is a
my
big thing.
children on movies that they should watch.
Yeah.
Her parents must have missed that one.
Well, maybe they weren't Unforgiven or Clint
I
Eastwood
don't
fans.
like Unforgiven that much either, Matt. I'm just saying.
Well, what the fuck
it's
are we
a
doing here?
fucking well done movie.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no way you'll get anything. This week it's Unforgiven, directed by Clint Eastwood, produced by Clint Eastwood, written by David
Clint-
Webb Peoples,
No, I don't think he writes anything.
starring Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman,
He plays every character.
Richard Harris, and Gene
He
Hackman.
plays Morgan Freeman in blackface.
It's like Eddie Murphy. It's like the Clumps,
Even though he's a crazy
Yeah.
gun waving guy.
but with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, it all takes place in one room. This is going to be a very hard one to find a budget for.
Even though he's a crazy, crazy Republican, you cannot doubt his contribution talent.
So
I'm
we
sorry.
need a year first, or we
A
know
year,
the
correct? Yeah.
That's the way the game goes.
Okay, I'm ready.
I have 94.
93.
It's 95.
1992.
Okay, well, can take some.
Nice work,
some,
Si.
Thanks, man. That's one check mark. Okay, so 1992.
How much it would cost to make movies back then?
This movie was a fucking woo. Okay, here we go.
And this is one of the great revenge movies. Something happens, and then someone has to get their revenge, and they get it.
I have no idea here. I just fucking shot in the dark it.
Oh yeah.
Ready when you are, Simon.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
35 and 110.4.
I said 30 and 130.
Not even
They
close.
didn't spend that kind of money back then, boys. It was $14.4 million was the budget. Box office, $159.2 million.
Simon wins. Nice work, Si.
So I would have thought that there was. What did you say the budget was?
150.
No,
Oh, no,
no,
the
no.
budget was 13 point something.
I would have thought
14.4.
there was 14 million just in horse rentals for this movie.
I think, and this is something that you can look at in life, like inflation's a bitch.
Yep.
And if you were to make a Forgive It today, it might cost $44 million. The exact same movie. You know what I mean?
Could cost 100.
Or it probably does. They do that thing
To
like
do all the costumes and
Gone
stuff.
with the
just-
Wind is still like the most expensive movie ever made.
Yeah.
Even though it cost $1 million at the time, it would be like a $400 million movie. Although I guess they're spending almost $1 billion on movies now.
Avatar.
Did you guys watch King Kong and
I did.
Godzilla?
No.
You did, Simon?
Yeah, I love those movies, but like
You paid $30?
I am totally again. I'll tell you in 1 second, Matt. Anytime there's a mech Godzilla involved, I'm fucking out.
Well,
we have
it was
so
too late when you found that out.
well because they don't put it in any pictures.
They don't put it in any pictures.
We have a ton of Cineplex points built up, Matt.
So you just-
I just it's
gotcha.
like watching a free movie.
It's all good. I
there's-
don't
There's
judge.
nothing
Like, I
to do,
re-
nowhere to
Simon,
go.
$30 would be cheaper than taking the family to a movie anyway.
I really want to watch that Bob Odenkirk movie. It's out
Oh,
right
yeah,
now.
what's it
It's
called
like,
again? Normal? No. What the fuck is it called?
It's like John Wick type.
Yeah.
Thing.
Just a normal guy.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I really want to watch that show They or Them that's on Amazon right now.
Okay, well, this is post-show stuff. Let's rate Mcofsky.
I just
want to
know
like we're done with her.
The Middle Earth is cool, eh, Simon?
The Middle Earth.
In King Kong. And,
Yeah. I
very
like all that
interesting,
stuff
Very
The
interesting.
Middle
Yeah.
Earth.
that Matt is pushing us forward. So
Well, we have a post-show. We can hit a long-ass post-show. Let's just get it. Let's get this done. What do you rate Mcofsky?
a 1.
I rated a 1.
Uh-oh. We have an agreement.
All I look for in these guests that come on is some growth, something interesting, something exciting, but it was just she needed validation to know she should keep going.
It's so crazy to think though that that's like my daughter being on Rogan.
Is your daughter the same age?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
That's mental, man.
If you don't have to have anything interesting to bring to a conversation with Rogan, then anyone can be on the show.
Well, that goes to my point. Like,
That's a good point.
get ready. You're about to go on this fucking show. Like, have some fucking stuff in the chamber.
That's
man.
not her MO to be prepared for something.
Dude.
But even then, an interesting conversation could spark from just like a movie you saw.
But you have to have that in your fucking
I get
Rolodex.
it. I'm just saying,
man.
yeah, like watch a good fucking series that maybe Joe hasn't seen or has seen.
Like
and bring
000.
Yeah, we'll get to that in the
that
post
shit
show.
is bonkers.
We'll get to that in the post.
It felt like she had 1 foot in being adult and 1 foot in being a kid. And she's just going through the transition, and maybe it's not fair of us to judge, but
I'm just saying, again, I was a useless piece of shit at 26. She's doing way, way better than I was.
I
so-
wasn't useless at 26.
Okay, well, that's... I
she was
congratulate
doing
you.
better than all of us are. That's not the point, though.
Well,
I don't know. I don't think she's doing that well. Like,
What are you talking about? She's on Joe Rogan.
I know, but I think I make as much money as she
We
probably
do a
does.
show about Joe
I
Rogan.
work-
She's on the
I
show.
work a
We
lot
do a show
harder.
about.
Well, I guess we have to define what well means.
I think she makes more money than you a year.
Then why is she living in her parents' house?
Convenience?
Okay.
Well, I keep in mind too, rent in LA
company.
Rent in LA is like 5 times what it is here. So
If she's just successful, I think she'd at least have an apartment.
This is so weird. Okay, let's go. Let's move on.
that's Kamar's. This is Kamar's part.
1634.
I want to do this, Kamar, because I want to be back in.
It's Jack Carr.
Jack Carr.
Jack Carr.
Thanks, man.
It's fine. At least one of us is, or 2 of us are on point here. Fucking bubble boy. Jack Carr. This guy had already been on, correct?
Yes.
Talk about the same book.
That's okay. So I'm not yet.
No, not talking about the same book.
Yeah, the pandemic book.
I think he might have been midway through it, and now it's done. And the new news is that it's going to become a movie.
And it's happened in real life.
A series
on
with
Prime.
Chris Pratt. Yeah.
I love me some Chris Pratt.
Love me some Chris Pratt.
We just watched the Avengers. That's where we are in our chronology. The first one. The first...
I meant to tell you, someone sent me a link and said that you're not supposed to watch them chronologically. There's a specific order, and he sent me a link, but it's too late
That's what
for
I'm
you.
doing. We're watching them in the timeline order.
No, not that order though. There's a different order you're supposed to watch them in, according to this.
Okay, well, I'd
listener.
like to hear what that.
Okay,
guy
I'll
said,
send you the
'cause
link.
I'm pretty sure I'm watching him in the right way.
All right.
Anyways, it was the last one though. What's that one called? Endgame.
So you're done.
No, we have the second
that's
part of
right.
Endgame
Okay, yeah.
tonight. Sorry, Kamar, go ahead. John.
They
my
talked about this format instead of doing a movie. Would you guys like to watch the 25-hour?
Film?
Well, they said Quentin Tarantino has a 25-hour Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No, I would
There's
never.
a 25-hour version, but you could be mature enough to break it down.
What do you mean
into
a
your own series.
25-hour
There's a
version of Once
25-hour cut of Once Upon a Time.
Well,
in
that's
Hollywood.
just ridiculous. That has stuff in it that obviously was never going to make it into the movie.
Come on, it has nothing to do with
Obviously.
being adult enough to be like, I don't have to watch this in one sitting. It's more just that a series is cut up in a way that is like there's specific ebbs and flows, and there's like at the end of every episode, there's a climax.
I think
a mini one.
Quentin Tarantino is the type of guy that everything he films he wanted to put in, and then
course.
just cannot do.
I would never watch that.
I think it'd be interesting.
Here's a better. Wouldn't it be awesome to see a Quentin Tarantino series?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it would be fucking rad, man. Dude, like
I wonder if he can write like that.
These HBO shows, those like obviously they changed the game, you know. They made they're like movies that run for fucking 13 episodes. It's amazing. It's amazing. Where we are right now in like the history of film.
I'd rather watch a well-done TV series than a good movie at this point.
I mean, I'm okay with a good movie too.
But the problem is it's a different style of storytelling. Like with a series, you have, not infinite, but you have such a longer character development way of, I don't know. It's just a lot easier to tell a story.
Oh no, for sure. For sure. Did you guys watch Forever?
No.
No. With Kamar, did you? With that annoying comedian there?
You're not helping at all.
Glasses. Looks like Oscar, but not.
Which Oscar?
Oscar from The Office. Fuck, I can't believe I can't remember his name.
Stephen Colbert, John Oliver.
He's in Suburbia. That show, Suburbia, I think it's called.
Why do you keep naming
Ryan
things I've
Callen,
never
Jeff
seen?
Garland.
No. He's skinny. Black hair, glasses.
And he's a comedian.
Yeah, like a really annoying guy.
Greg
Okay,
Proops.
forget it. No.
No.
Go on. I'll pull it up.
Craig Proops.
It's not
Dude, you went deep into the bag there, Kumar.
Greg Kinnear.
No, you're the worst. You know that's
you're
one
the
of-
worst.
Do you know that Mary, one of Mary's top 5 favorite actors?
Is the person you can't
My
name.
Mary?
You're Mary. Greg Kinnear.
I think if you
Greg
asked...
Kinnear, yeah. Everyone loves Greg Kinnear.
Listen, I love Mary. If you asked her to name her top 5 actors, she'd get 3 through and be like, I can't think of any more. So Greg Kinnear, there's no fucking way.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Tomorrow, ask her if she can name 3 Greg Kinnear movies. And then we'll see how big a fucking Greg Kinnear fan she is.
This is disgusting to watch what he's doing here.
Yeah, I know.
Remember that movie about the guy? Actually, Greg Kinnear.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
Just go on.
Go on with Jack Carr.
Move on.
Do you think the movie theater's done?
I have AMC shares, a lot of them.
So
So I
no.
hope no. No, but Kamar, my answer is yes. I think long term, give me a date, and I'll tell you if I think movie theaters are still around.
I think it's always going to be a thing because it's like a date thing. Like it's a young thing, and people like to do stuff like 20 years, still have movie theaters.
I'd say 10, maybe 20, no way.
Once we,
Do you mean like totally no movie theaters? I think they'll be Mayfair type. I think it'll be a niche market where there will still exist some theaters, but I don't think there will be a massive conglomerate. Like AMC will be gone, Cineplex will be gone.
IMAX has lost its way. Like, that's an experience in itself. I think the seats sort of sit back, like it's almost like a ride.
I don't think they're done, Matt. And just like you're saying, the future already of movies was less people, more room, better seats. So they'll just make it even smaller and more personal than that.
Yeah, but they weren't really making money off that model. That's the problem. Like, I just don't know that. I don't know that it's viable unless the amount of people that used to go to the movies continue to go.
Again, they're just going to charge more, and everybody's going to be okay with that because everybody just wants to get out and do normal air quote
That's
things
what I
again.
think, because their argument was the release to platform thing is making it so easy. Home TVs are nice enough. You have your own snacks. You don't have distractions of other people on their phone or whatever. But it wasn't like the drive-in sort of disappeared, so anything's possible.
Blockbuster. That's something you never thought was going to go away.
Fred Armisen.
Oh my God.
Come on.
Suburbia.
He named every other person but Fred
Armisen.
Armisen.
Yeah. Well, it's not his fault.
Did you see the meme of Fred Armisen when he's on Parks and Rec, driving your car? Arrested. Person. They're making fun of what's going on in Ontario's lockdown. Outside your house, arrested.
Anywho.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see the movie theater, but I think it's like a date thing, like it's a coming of age thing.
Here's the thing. I think as long as there are like big budget blockbusters, you kind of have to go see those at a theater. Like you owe it to the filmmaker and yourself.
It's like one of the cheapest activities you can sort of do. And that's not saying like it's $20 a ticket now, like inflation, whatever. But
No, but listen, if you want to go on the cheap, it's $20 a ticket.
We'll
That's
go
not
to
the
a
most
movie, we'll get
expensive.
out of the house,
That's not the most expensive
go for a
2
walk.
hour.
All that has to change, just as I'm thinking about it right now, all that has to change is we get like bigger, better TVs. And then, because like Kamar was saying, you get to stay home in the comfort of your own
This
house.
is why I said 10 years it'll be gone.
You get to smoke.
Yep.
You get to eat all your food that you're not paying an arm and a fucking leg for. Like the only thing is, Matt, that you're watching it on the big screen. You put earphones in and you can have the whole experience, you know? I'm with you. Movie theaters are dead. It's only going to be a niche market.
I'm saying, listen, I'm saying this is like
Agreement. Hit the button.
I'm saying this is 10 years down the road that I think that'll happen. I don't think theaters are like going to just go the way of the dodo overnight. I think it'll be a slow bleed.
You think that they're going to be able to, because remember, Matt, that it's easy for us to say a slow bleed, but remember, like a company that can foresee the future, like a Target, let's say, who said they opened up 100 stores and closed them all within a year because they said it's going to cost us more to run these for 10 years than it is for us to, just lose all this money on infrastructure. Sometimes.
I get it. Yeah, I understand.
So really, is it going to take, do you think they can bleed for 10 years? I don't know if they can, man. I'm just thinking about it,
It'll be interesting to see whatever the new world order is. Everyone's vaccinated. Crowds are able to be. Like, are we such a social creature that we crave going out, you know what I mean? Barring another pandemic. And people like, can you imagine... Well, when was the last time you were in a crowd of 25 people even?
A year and a half ago.
You know what I mean? And maybe like for some people, they didn't like that anyway.
I didn't like that anyway. I was just thinking
But you are such a unique
you're an outlier.
being, Simon.
Yeah, I like being...
The energy of just sort of... You don't be trapped in anywhere, but...
Like walking around, even the shitty CFL games in Ottawa. Like I hate the CFL, but I like going to the game, walking around. Yeah, I agree totally.
Game.
Yeah,
it's part of the human experience. So,
however, like to Simon's, there is nothing worse though than walking into a movie theater like 5 minutes before the movie starts, and there's only two like of the shittiest seats in the world left. That also sucks.
Well, that's on you again.
I get it. Yeah.
You're doing it for the last minute, so you can't have it
I
all.
understand, but
And some movie theaters you can make reservations. Anyways,
that's true.
It will be interesting because it's such a like.
but when you make that reservation, you're like, I don't want anyone to take these seats.
It's just a given for us. We've already lived our youth with movie theaters. Anything's possible. It was interesting how he talked about like what a gold mine building a good character is.
Yeah.
Like as an artist, as a writer, whatever. Like then you can have.
Oh, the spin-offs,
Like Rambo,
the fucking
like
it
it's
can
really,
go. It can go on for decades.
and
Rocky.
And it's like that thing where the author might become the person or whatever. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen those movies where it's a crime writer and then she wants to kill him off and then the crazy super fan wants to kill them to keep the character going,
Yeah,
whatever? I just thought that was very interesting. And apparently what he has excelled at is extreme attention to detail. So when he's writing these books, he's writing about espionage and stuff, but he's down to like the screws that are used in the knife. And
But I mean, that's what makes a good writer. In my opinion, that's always
description, 100%. And I thought that was a great, any would-be writers, like it's maybe not on us, but the description, not even the action or moving the story forward is what embeds you in it.
Well, of course, especially when you're reading it. If it's on the page, it has to bring you in to where you're there and visualizing it because it's just so.
And the detail is detail. The devil's in the detail. The bestseller's in the detail.
I mean, sometimes you got to ask though with those sort of things, like if it's military detail, if you're like just the layman, does it matter? I'm saying, does it?
You may not even know what it is, but it sounds.
Yeah,
cool.
maybe.
And you
Maybe
feel
you're right. Maybe you're like, holy fuck, yeah.
Something like.
And it matters to the guy who knows. So
Well, that's what I'm saying is, but how many of those are there? Like you don't want to. What I'm saying is, when you're writing something like that, you don't want it to be for like a small niche market. You want it to be for the masses.
No, you just need to make sure that you get all your info right. You know, you
I know for
there
them,
are
it's
Joe
like
Rogans out there who are going to demand that it be the correct gauge.
I think
of
it's more.
shotgun
I think it's
and,
more
you know.
other SEALs. That's what I found from these SEAL guys. Is that they're like they can't take another SEAL looking and being like that's bullshit, and you know what I mean? Like I think to them,
I would like a little round table.
a SEAL round
Like
table,
let
Jocko,
Carr and Luttrell or whatever. Just see if they're
all on the same
completely on
page.
the same page, or they diametrically opposed on stuff. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Although group podcasts don't really work unless you have a great chemistry like we do. But I'll be interested in whatever the show is if it's like over the top details. Because like you said, it's one thing when you're reading.
I don't think you can,
you're
though.
building the material. Because he was talking down to specific
That's what I'm-
backpacks
that's
and
what I'm
whatnot.
saying.
So that paints a picture in your head, but it might be boring if it's all detailed out. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be detailed like that. I think he was saying that they made sure that everything was.
He dotted
the
all his
same
I's and
backpacks
crossed
they
all his
used,
T's. Yeah,
but it's still going to be a fucking action show.
But I will say this, Kamar. When it goes to production, I have a feeling that he'll be on site making sure that like you said, that everything is
Well, I think he
like
said
that's not the Humvee we used. I want the real.
he
you
was
know.
concerned he doesn't have that control now.
Oh, then he's fucked.
Like he signed off.
Yeah, oh, he's
and
fucked then.
And he's
They will
put his
do-
faith in Chris Pratt and stuff. But
They're gonna do whatever they want with it.
so that's where I could justify another podcast with him again
Please.
after the show comes out.
But only then.
What do you think about what happened, how it went down, or whatever?
I bet he'll have him and Pratt on at the same time.
Pratt. Wow.
Well,
He's
couldn't you see that?
constantly talking about
That's
him.
what I'm
He
saying.
lives in Texas.
I see that happening.
He's a Christian. Joe likes that now.
Joe likes that now.
I'm into. I'm all for religion.
I thought it was cool when he talked about the Stephen Pressfield. He thought he said one thing, like about a stick-it note on your computer, but is one sentence that is the core of your play, and he thought it was one word, so he put the word revenge, and it worked for him. But then he found out after that's not even what the guy meant. But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
yeah, whatever
misunderstanding,
works
like,
for you
this is
doesn't-
what you
it doesn't
do, I did
matter.
it. It's like it wasn't even it. So it's almost like Dumbo and the Feather,
Yeah.
or the placebo effect.
Yeah. But I'm fine with that. Like, listen, if whatever works for you, like
Of course, whatever floats your boat.
if you told me you signed on to some like online shyster, like not a Jordan Belfort type, but you know what I mean? Like some fucking YouTube investor. If you were like, I took his advice and I actually made tons of money, I'd be like, whatever works, man. Like I couldn't call you. No.
Excuse me.
No, but
I got
again,
something stuck in my throat.
But I read Hotep and I thought, I have to embed my life in Twitter. And it was like,
I don't want to do that.
it was like whatever, $6,000 for the book to know I don't want to be a marketing guru or
Yeah, and that's fine too.
influence on Twitter versus bumming around, dicking around, fucking posting stuff every time at 9 p.m. or whatever, thinking it's going somewhere.
Bumming around, dicking around.
Posting things at 9 p.m. thinking it's going somewhere. That's Kamar's quote on his tombstone.
Doesn't
like
it
that.
almost seem like it's a conspiracy that we're enemies? We
Yes.
have enemies.
What do you mean, Kamar?
Well, they're just talking about the propaganda from China. Like he went like China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. Not even that they're all in on it, cahoots, but they talk to. But they're just enemies. Like it's 2021, isn't it?
So, Kamar, when we had that China debate a couple weeks ago, that's kind of what I was getting at. Is like we often judge the people of the country by their government. And
Absolutely.
and I don't think we should all the time. Like
Can't. That's prejudice.
that's what I'm saying. Is it's to like you can be anti-Russian government, but there's tons of good
When
people
I'm
in
critical
Russia.
of China, I'm critical of.
I realize
the
that.
Chinese
We're not
government.
talking about Chinese
I was
people.
offering you the olive branch there, saying I know that's what you were saying. And
I
that's
take the olive branch.
I accept. I'm saying that I just think that we forget that often when we're having I'm saying the collective we forget that when we're having those discussions.
Therefore, the collective we aren't enemies. And
Yeah, I
just
agree.
The governments are enemies, and it's like, okay, guys, figure it out. Like we've had enough. It seems like it needs to be, not that it has to be.
So I had this weird thought the other day because Joe never brings up the Nordic countries. In fact, right-wing people never bring up the Nordic countries for some reason. I don't know why. It's probably because it doesn't fit their...
Because they're all racist, you mean?
Aliens.
Or they're all white.
No. The Nordic countries have like the highest... they're all democratic socialist countries, and they all have the highest rating for happiness, for all the highest things, education, wealth inequality, the wealth gap. It's all the lowest over there. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, that's all fine and dandy, but without the U.S. spending what they spend a year on the military, they don't get to live that way. Like we all live in this world where because they don't have the fucking military might, China could, if they want, just fuck those countries up in a hot minute if they decided to.
But is there just whoever the military might finally just wins and it's over?
And
And
America,
we're all Chinese or whatever. Like
and America spends like
this has to keep
$100 trillion a year
Oh, it's
or
insane.
something.
And
Do
Biden
they-
just increased it.
Do
It's
they
nuts.
need that to keep scaring other countries into submission? Like
I think it's just an industry that
it is,
it
Kamar.
is like as archaic as fucking
That's-
Blockbuster.
Kamar.
But it's like this is how we do it.
Kamar,
I agree, but-
that's the matrix I was talking about earlier. It's a set of rules that are imposed, and we all just say, "Oh yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes,
the way it
yes,
is."
yes,
but
yes.
no, that's like a system that's running that we're a part of because we are a part of it and we drive the system, even though we all agree that it's like nonsense.
Yes, that's what it is.
And you like have to like literally step out of the system so you can see the fucking absurdity of it all.
My point, though, was that in the 40s, unchecked, one country just ran through a continent. And it was only once the U.S. got involved that fucking stopped.
But
So-
had they not stopped, had they just gone ahead with it, do they sort out and they're in a fine society then? I mean, horrible atrocities got there, but the Russians killed their own people to get to where they go, and they're still enemies. Not caring about anything, just seeing how it works out.
Yeah, I'm not saying, Matt, that you don't need some sort of
I
military.
realize that. Listen, I was just
But come
playing.
on, now it's obvious. And look, every time
Simon.
there's like a money issue, they
Simon.
just start another war so
Simon.
they can get the machine rolling.
First of
again.
all, they spend more than the next top 9 countries put together. So I'm aware that their spending is out of control. That's not what I was saying. I'm just saying I was thinking about those Nordic countries and how that's like if you ask me right now what other country I would go live in, it would probably be Denmark, to be completely honest. No, it'd be somewhere warm. I'm fucking lying.
And then there are
I don't want to
problems
lie and
over
say like,
there
whoever's
too,
the lowest
like-
tax bracket, because that would make a difference to me.
But it is interesting that they never mention those Nordic countries.
Well, again, it
Who's
goes.
they?
Joe,
As
politicians.
models for society?
the media in North America.
Because they all have health care and they only bash our Canada's health care mainly. Is that what you mean?
It's because it works over there, Simon, and they don't really want. That's a terrible narrative for over here that you can have. Because again, they're democratic socialists, and the word socialism absolutely does not fly
those
over here.
countries have some problems with immigration.
And they have problems
Sure.
with like
And refugees and stuff.
suicide and there's all things we don't hear about because we don't hear about it.
They probably
Yeah.
don't cover them because they don't want to, like, it can be that good somewhere.
I'm
So
sure.
you're just saying that it's lies, that all those Nordic countries, it's not actually like a happy.
No, they're killing it. Well, we know Norway is like oil rich, like it's coming out of their pores.
I think Finland has some problems, but that's
So, and Finland, I think, has all the death metal.
I don't think there's any country.
Sweden makes IKEA.
Listen to this 50-year-old over here. They have all the death metal. I'm just saying, listen, no country is without its problems. Obviously, I'm not
and
sitting here saying.
Sweden has Volvo and IKEA.
And
They're
ABBA.
fine.
And ABBA.
They're fine.
And Max Martin.
and
Max
ABBA.
Martin.
Who's Max Martin?
He's the guy that wrote every song for Britney Spears and Katy Perry and like every
Never heard of him.
hit.
Well, of course you
Exactly.
haven't. You're not a 14-year-old
That's how you want to be rich.
Well, he's ridiculously rich. Anyways, it's weird way of enemies. 3 felonies a day. Do you remember when you were talking about that?
3 felonies a day?
The FBI worked out that everyone commits 3. I don't understand whether using a felony and breaking a law is.
Well, it's a misdemeanor versus a felony.
jaywalking or-
A misdemeanor won't send you to jail. A felony should send you to jail, I believe.
But he was contending that everyone commits 3 felonies a day.
Well, and
That is-
where places
there's
where
no fucking
weed
way.
is illegal, you just have to smoke
the
3.
way you look at the letter of law.
I still don't believe that, though.
Listen, if you live in a place where weed is illegal, you just have to smoke 3 joints a day, and you've lived
Fine.
up to
Yes,
that
that's
guy's
true.
quote.
Yeah.
So
That's fine.
Joe and
big
Jamie
not
fucking
here.
deal.
Joe and Jamie didn't press back at him, but I think what it sort of meant is like if you're speeding, that can be looked at as a reckless driving. You could actually get arrested for that or something to that degree if you wanted to look at the
Yeah,
law.
I mean, that's a real stretch.
Well,
but-
no, it was somewhat of a stretch, but they were talking about superfragilistic freedom of speech, just where the stretch happens, and all of a sudden you wake up here. This is why we got to fight back. This guy was obviously a Republican.
Why did you say
obviously.
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
Because that's what I say whenever they talk about woke and all that. The same conversation been having for 5 years that they have out of 4 episodes they have 3 times. I'm over it. You know what I mean?
Woke is going away. Trust me. It was first of all, woke was created on 4chan as a joke. It's somehow taken off.
Oh shit! Did you guys, both of you, watch that?
Watch what? Cue the storm. We talked
yeah.
about it already. What are you nuts? We did this last week.
Yeah, we talked about it.
We did the ending and everything.
Everything
We talked
to
about the
shows.
whole thing.
No,
Do you not even listen to our show? You don't.
The best is people listening, not listening. People listening, you are the best. But I've heard other people like denounce that. Like, what are we doing here? Like clinging on to stuff. Did you guys ever hear the AOC word salad? What does what mean?
well, like you just said things and then moved on. I have no idea what
There's
you're even talking
podcasts
about.
that are shooting down that storm, like wanting Q to live on and saying, "Wow, they're saying it's him, but it's
Yeah,
not."
but we called that last week. Remember, we said they would like double down and be like,
People will, but for my personal following the stuff, this was enough to me to put to rest. You know what I mean? I form my opinion on what Q is based on this documentary.
But Kamar, imagine if you had spent
that's
the last.
crazy.
But hold on, imagine if you had spent the last 4 years of your life burying your heels in the sand. Like, it would be tough to just accept that this guy's documentary is.
Yeah, but what's crazy is there's people who like made a living off it.
Well, yeah, and they have to fight it, so
Or
they got to
have-
keep
they
their
have
fucking.
to keep their narrative
That's what
going
I'm
and
saying.
stuff,
Yeah,
and I
And based on this documentary, we think that guy is Q. I mean,
Ron,
Yeah,
we did this.
No,
yeah.
did we?
But
We
you're
did this.
You're not sure, Simon?
No, I'm just saying. Like, I'm just taking this guy's word for everything he put out there. You know,
Are you talking about Ron or the guy who made
I'm
the
talking
documentary?
about the guy who made the documentary.
So I think he constructed and created a case as least biased as possible that points in a general direction. Unlike Winds of Change is way more vague than saying this is what
Well,
it is.
do not besmirch winds of change just because you're
I'm not
angry
besmirching
that
it.
I don't agree with you.
I'm not besmirching it. I'm just saying this guy went out and said, this is what I think.
Yeah.
Based on this.
But
Whereas
just like you just said, you were like, well, I've watched this documentary and my mind is made up based on watching one thing on fucking HBO.
6 episodes, but it was more.
Yeah, but one guy's narrative.
6
dude.
episodes.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but wait, listen, all Kamar's saying is that Kamar, from how this guy laid it out, like he said, he felt that there was no bias on this guy's side, that he just laid out what he was seeing, and that through what he saw, Kamar agrees that this guy was more likely than not Q. Although we did say last week, we don't know that he was Q from the beginning. We were still unsure of that,
He
correct?
definitely wasn't Q from the beginning.
What I'm saying is whoever is Q is not someone who has nothing to do with these guys.
That is possible, Kay.
And I'm disagreeing with that, Simon. But of course, anything's possible.
I'm going to agree with Kamar on this one. I feel heavily like they had to be involved in. They had.
You would think.
Well, I mean,
And the fact that Q's completely disappeared.
well, I mean, I'm not on 8chan or 4chan, so I don't really know.
No, I think he has disappeared. Yeah, I don't think there are any more Q drops. But again, I don't really know. So
Anyways, yeah, we talked about
yeah,
all
we'll
this
move
last
on.
week.
If we talked about this,
Imagine
I
if
don't
Q started like
second.
a fuck Jerry type of Instagram page now. It was just like, this is what we do now.
That's what you got to do.
Just
though.
all memes.
Yeah, just
Is
rotate.
make-
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Just
That's what Gary Vee would say.
that's it. Just
Pivot, make fun of yourself, surround yourself with the space.
He
move
just
on. Keep it
makes
moving.
a Patreon and make shirts that say fucking gimme cash, and that'll become like a fucking catchphrase.
There you go.
And next thing you know,
I had mentioned it or tried to mention it during the Crenshaw episode last week, but the incident where the guy said AOC's answer was underwhelming and that had police show up as a threat. Did you guys ever hear the word salad?
word salad.
The word salad, her answer to peace between Israel and
are you
Palestine.
saying world salad
Word.
or word salad?
Word salad, like she tossed up a Greek or like it was a Caesar salad with extra dressing.
I didn't hear it, but I assume
go
she's
on.
retarded.
I could play it here. It's 3 minutes.
No,
I
please
know you
don't.
won't.
No, we'll
Maybe we'll play it after.
We can play it at the break and we'll talk about it.
But it sort of had this thing like what we have here is a how and a what. Now we have to define the what, but you can't lose sight of the how. How we get to the what is the most interesting. Like you've got to hear it. It's like Joe said, it's like Columbus discovered. I mean, he was very important. And we're on to the other. Like what I'm doing right now. Often, what I always do is a word salad. I just say words and hope you can put them together. But if you listen to it, she answers absolutely nothing, very intensely and seriously. So you know the person behind it is complete bullshit.
Listen, once I saw her on Twitch, I was like playing video games with someone. I was like, oh, we're done. We're done here.
She can get it though.
She can get it though. Careful, the FBI is going to show up.
For sure, though. You know what? It's fine. Go on.
They talked about on the line, which now makes sense why that could be a saying. We always had in line, on line. On the line is like a military saying within the ranks.
Yeah, I never.
Attacking.
Okay.
What I'm thinking is if something's said, it's now part of a lexicon. And that lead, one guy comes back from service, mentions that, it catches on to someone, and now it's accepted as it is a term.
Listen, often
We're too literal when we say inline, online.
often jokey things like bruh, that was a joke.
More
And now
so.
everyone says it. I mean, that's often how the world works.
It is said, though.
Online? Yeah,
Online.
of course.
So now-
everyone
Yeah,
that
it's said by
everyone that
Americans.
hits, I know everyone hits me up and they're like, no one ever says that. I never hear it. I'm like, listen, you have to listen more
They
carefully
wait
because I hear it
online.
all the
This
fucking
may
time.
be the origin we've been waiting
Well,
for.
we're gonna find out.
I didn't realize whenever we talked about Fast and Furious, I thought it was like 400 guns. I don't know if it makes a difference with 2,000 guns. Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh, the whole story from the beginning.
You're
was-
talking about the Operation
yes,
Fast and
yeah.
Furious.
He's not
Yes.
talking about the Vin Diesel
So the movie
franchise.
has way more guns in it. But I just didn't realize it was that many guns. And Joe didn't either. I think it was like 100 guns or whatever was what could go wrong. And after watching 000, like, to see where these guns go to, they don't go to farmers protecting their farmland.
No.
Or whatever. They're used for one thing only, and that's
The worst shit.
terror and violence.
Yeah. It's crazy that someone it's crazy that there had to go through a chain, that decision, right? That operation. Like, it had to be okayed.
People sat around. This is a good idea. We're gonna
They
change
were
the world.
going to shoot their own planes out of the sky. It got all the way to the very tippity top before it was canceled. Like, shit's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Oh, I forgot to mention way back. At one point, they were talking about the McChrystal and the reporter.
Yeah.
Because the one thing he said, which is it's the weirdest thing, why they say these conspiracies can't happen, because no one can keep a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the Michael, the guy whose car got driven into the fucking... What's his name? That's just such a crazy story, man. Like, the whole thing. He's over there embedded with the guys because of the volcano, too much information. He says to his wife the night before, like, they're after me. They're going to kill me if I die. This was the thing. And then, boom, his car goes into a fucking tree.
And then all these people are able to keep the secret.
What do you mean?
Well, they're talking about the...
Kamar's saying that at least 10 people must know about that.
Just talking conspiracy gently. He was talking about the plane that never crashed into the Pentagon, was shot by missile or whatever.
I said that the whole time.
And
I said that the whole time.
Carr's pushback was, yeah, but I just don't think people can keep a secret. It's just interesting. Sometimes just secrets apparently are kept. Sometimes they're not.
We went through this because when somebody was arguing, like, in order for them to fake the moon landing, you'd have to have 400 people believe that 400 people in on the secret. And my response to that is no. You have to have a very few right at the top, and everybody else just has to believe that they're doing the real thing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's different with a plane being shot, but not that different, man.
You might be able to get a CIA person to think they're getting a spy, but they're actually killing this reporter, and they don't even know.
Correct.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Listen,
so people can keep a secret if it's not even a secret.
Exactly. If you think that you're doing the right thing,
that I can agree with,
then there's no secret to be kept because you're living in the matrix and you're under the assumption that this is all on the level.
This is all on the level, yeah. I mean,
but that's the biggest pushback people say to any conspiracy, right?
Right, and I'm blowing that out of the water.
You just blew it out of the water like a submarine. I forgot to mention this one. COVID passports. Bad idea.
Well, it's coming.
But is it discriminatory back to voting rights and stuff, like to poor people?
Well, they're just going to say...
Well, first of all, hold on. The idea, like, Joe had a very odd stand where Joe was like, so what, you need this thing to travel? You need a passport to travel, first of all. So that's already...
Not within the United States. That's what he's talking about.
But it's the information down the road that, like... Say is a different time, like, oh, throw on his passport, he's a Trump supporter or whatever. And I'm saying that's going to happen, but it opens it up.
Well, keep in mind, let me remind you,
for more than just a vaccine.
Well, let me remind you though, I have evidence against that because we had a vaccine passport in Canada, and it's now gone. So they had it at one point, and then it went away, and they didn't.
Idea, or?
Well, because they didn't need it anymore, I guess was the idea. And again, they didn't then stretch that to like throwing who you voted for on your passport.
But do you believe that if this passport, what's coming?
I don't know. Listen, right now they're arresting people.
Let me finish the question. Okay. We are under the understanding that if you want to travel, live some sort of normal life. I think if you just want to live in Canada, you're fine. But if you want to travel, do stuff, maybe if you go to events, you will need some sort of passport. And you're contending that it's possible that this will be temporary.
Yes. Well, I'm saying
I think that's crazy.
Okay, but I just gave you evidence.
You did
that we've done this before.
And I just want to understand. And I think, see what we know now, I think there's no way they would ever.
So you think the pandemic goes away and they just keep this passport and then they add to it that you voted for Trump and that
or whatever it is, you were in Antifa in university or whatever it is. I don't want to be specifically a party.
Why can they not
details.
just
But keep in mind,
put that on your existing file.
But I was just going to say,
sure
like,
everybody
if you were a
has
Black
file.
Panther in high school, that's on your file regardless. So
This is just one of the concerns.
Like,
I
they're
will get
all-
the vaccine. I'll get the passport.
They are already following you. They already take all of your information. No,
Yeah,
I'm
they
telling-
do.
Nothing
Listen,
is changing with a fucking vaccine passport.
Well, I can agree with that. Like, again, when you fly to another country, they have all your info right there. They take they X-ray you. They
And
take your fingerprints
and they can also,
digitally.
They can also turn you away if they want.
The reason
For whatever reason, Matt. So
I'm well aware.
No, I'm just saying, like, this is just another reason for people to say, to make it a rights issue. And I totally understand the government takes a little and then takes more and never gives that back. Like, I don't think once they put that passport into effect, that's now the norm.
Yes.
So I am going to disagree with you there, Matt. That is just going to disappear. It disappeared last time because we weren't living in pandemic times, you know?
That's fine. I'm
This
just
hadn't
saying.
happened yet.
I'm just saying. If history is any proof in Canada, at least, it will come and go.
The reason why I don't think it'll go is because it's international. So it's going to be according all countries. Everyone has to sort of get rid of it.
But Kamar, here's the thing. You vote, you vote. Okay? So, like, all it will take is a conservative government that you vote in to change it back, right? Like, I don't understand the
No,
logic
but I'm
here.
saying if the Liberals impose a COVID passport,
Yeah.
and then everyone says, well, we don't like this anymore, so we vote the Conservatives because they say they're going to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But London doesn't get rid of it. And London says, well, you guys can't come here unless you have...
After
You know what I mean? It's not just...
But even then, Kamar,
the
other
country's
countries,
decision.
but other countries already have that decision.
they can already
They can already turn you away for whatever reason when you get there.
Okay, I don't think the COVID passport's a good idea. You guys do.
I didn't say that.
I'm just saying why I don't think it'll be taken away.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not saying you just put words in my mouth. I'm not saying it's a good idea. What I'm saying is,
we all agree then.
you asked me the first time, do you think it'll go away? You just think it'll
Yeah.
go away, and I said history for me has proven that it will go away.
And my position is it won't go away because there's too much coordination between countries. They'll never be on the same page. And Simon says it won't go away because they don't do that sort of thing. But do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea?
Whether I think it's a good idea or a bad idea, like, I just don't think it's that huge a deal is my point.
It's not a hill to die on.
Look, like, in order to get... When 9/11 happened, Kamar, everybody got scared, things changed, and all of a sudden you had to take off your shoes before you got on a plane. All of a sudden...
That was actually after 9/11.
Whatever. All of a sudden, you had to show up 3 hours before your flights.
Yep.
Everybody still did it, guys. Like, it made life more complicated, but you just accepted it. Like, this has happened before. It's just not that big a deal.
Well, there are smarter people than me who say it is a big deal. So
Again, those people would have also said, Kamar, that it's crazy for you to take off your shoes to go on a plane. And that might be true, but it let the planes keep flying.
I think it's naive. Since
Hold on, though. Just to Kamar's point, what Kamar's saying, though, is like one guy one time put a bomb in his shoes, and now forever and ever we have to take off our shoes to get on a plane. It's just, it seems like maybe
I'm not saying it's right.
I know,
I'm
I'm
just
just-
saying
I was just
like,
trying to-
life went on. We still flew.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree with you there for sure.
it's like the slippery slope of wokeness or whatever. Like, God forbid it happens, but people just say this isn't the best idea. And most of us are so sick and tired of it. They're like, I don't care if it's a good idea or a bad idea. I just want to get back to normal. Just do it. And it's almost like make a decision or consider something under sort of duress.
I
know what I
heard
mean?
this old white gentleman the other day on a podcast talking about wokeness, and he's like, this whole woke culture thing, it's ridiculous. He goes, Kevin Spacey's a great actor. Just let the man act. And I was like, that is the fucking, probably the worst example of...
yeah, that's not who we want backing us up.
I was thinking to myself, I was like, this guy just dug himself the worst fucking hole. Like,
Kamar, what did you just say, though?
it's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope.
He was talking about woke culture being the same as if we give them a little bit.
We've looked at stuff, said, oh, that'll never happen. And the next thing you know, there's men beating up women's sports. Like, we say we're under duress because of this.
that was it. We're under duress.
Pandemic.
I totally agree with you. All the decisions that we make right now are like decisions you make when you're scared. And that's never the decisions you should make. I'll agree with that for sure.
And
right now they're making wartime decisions.
But even the decisions we make personally, right? Like we make them because we're afraid.
And that was my next point, because this perfectly ties all together. His book is about a pandemic. So that is the other hot topic. But he was talking about how the fear brought by a pandemic is starting to be worse than the actual pandemic. The psychology, like when you're walking down the street now and someone walks 20 feet around you, you know what I mean? And it's like...
Yeah, before they used to do that because of the color of your skin. Now they do it because they're worried about getting sick.
Just a lot of people are scared. Like
Kamar, I agree. I totally agree with you.
And that the PTSD from that or whatever it is far worse than getting COVID. I mean, unless you die, and then you die, maybe go to a new universe and...
Well, that's best case scenario you just said there. You really sugar-coated dying there, Kamar. That was
what it is. You're just like everyone who gets it is okay. Like
Kamar, do you know what survivorship?
95% of people get it okay.
Do you know what survivorship
that's
bias?
Still a lot of people who get sick, Kamar.
Do you know what
really
survivorship
sick.
bias is?
Survivorship bias. No, but it was on the Reddit.
Yes.
The other day.
What is it, Matt?
I'll pull it up so that I don't butcher it. But you guys keep going.
The Biden comeback's very interesting, right?
What's the Biden comeback?
Well, he was running for president, got caught for lying, and got kicked out. It got forgotten, and now he's come back. He's like, all's forgiven, Joe.
As president.
And well, now, of course he will. He ran for president one. Even though he had this big scandal which finished him that time around.
That is the only reason that was possible, Kamar, is because your guy was so hated.
Okay, so survivorship bias or survival bias is the logical error of concentrating on the people or things that made it past some selection process and overlooking those that did not, typically because of their lack of visibility. This can lead to some false conclusions in several different ways. Survivorship bias can lead to overly optimistic beliefs because failures are ignored, such as when companies that no longer exist are excluded from analysis of financial performance. It can lead to the false belief that the successes in a group have some special property rather than just coincidence. Correlation proves casualty, whatever. For example, if 3 of the 5 students with the best college grades went to the same high school, then that would lead one to believe that the high school must offer an excellent education when in fact, it may just be a larger school instead. This can be better understood by looking at the grades of all the students that went to the high school, not just the ones who made it to the top 5 selection process. It's the idea that like, because you're doing well and because there's people that are doing well, we just assume that like it's not as bad out there. We also, there's like 10 new fucking variants to this thing. We have no idea what they do. We don't know the long-term effects.
But that's interesting you say that because the reason the variants are here is to protect, because we are protecting human rights, right? You said people have the right to leave the country.
Yeah.
Why are those people's rights more important than our rights to go to a park or whatever? Like, it just
agreed,
doesn't,
Kamar. It's
I mean, listen,
crazy. They made us shut down our businesses.
Listen.
Well, they let fucking willy-nilly people in. Like, it's nuts.
Listen,
bring the variants.
I said last March that they should shut down all air travel and lock the borders. I said that. So I'm in agreement there. I'm just saying that it's easy to sit here and be like, we should just open everything up.
I also agree with that statement because, like, it's easy for you to say, Kamar, yeah, it's no big deal to get COVID until you get COVID and you get really sick. Like,
I've been really sick before. Like, it's the par for the game of life that this could possibly happen. But if you look at it, our province.
It's tough. I know. It's tough.
Our province is being weighed down by the Golden Horseshoe, right?
By Toronto and Hamilton.
Hamilton, Windsor, Waterloo, all that is like 10 million people.
Well, Ottawa's really bad right now, numbers-wise.
We should be double what we are, though, to be part of the average of the province.
Okay, so we're below the average of the province. Is that what you want to hear?
As an optimist, that's what you want to hear. Like, the problem is down there, not up here. And
that sounds racist.
You can compare Canada to Texas, and Texas is way worse than us. Way more cases, way more deaths. You know what I mean? But they've accepted that and moved on, and they're open. So it's like
that's a very weird.
They're not asking you to be closed for.
Our standard is just different.
We don't have the fucking vaccines.
I guess that's what it is.
Kamar, if we had the vaccines, they wouldn't be shutting us down. Okay. We don't have the vaccine, so we have no way to fight the oncoming wave, but to fucking distance ourselves.
But we've been locking down 3 times, and it doesn't work as the numbers keep going up. So
I know, but if it then gets worse, if there are now more variants,
we are at the worst. Okay. We are the worst in the world. Like, we sat here for a year and looked at America like, oh, those guys are fucked. How are they handling this? All other countries, and now we're like,
I totally agree.
Sitting on our hands.
Absolutely, because we fucked up and we don't have vaccines.
Kamar, I also read an article the other day that they are lying about the numbers in the States.
It's far worse.
That it's actually far worse, yes. And that due to Biden being president, they don't want to.
That's juicy.
They've said all along, whatever it is, it's probably 10 times more. Because 98% of Ottawa has not ever had a COVID test.
Well, you know, too, I was just going to say, like, we know that there's people who get COVID and then never.
Yep.
Right? Like, they just, either they don't know that they have it, or it's just easier to just, like, self-quarantine, and I don't know, man.
In my hypothesis, though, the fear of this pandemic is far worse than the actual sickness of the pandemic. And he said they have to have all these viruses as a defense precaution. Mm-hmm. If you don't have it. And so that's the only reason why I think this could be a naturalistic thing. Right?
What does that mean?
If this was leaked from a lab,
yeah,
then maybe it'd be a lot faster. Or vaccine or whatever would be already...
Because they'd already been working on it, is what you're saying. If they already had...
If that's the idea here.
Well, China was, and they've already inoculated all their people. We went through this last
Then they're
week.
really mean for not sharing it with the rest of them.
Well, if it was leaked from the lab...
That was so considerate of you, Kamar.
Anyways.
It's just a possibility. Lastly, this guy knew what he wanted to do from he was 7. And I think that's a rare thing.
Which one, though? He wanted to be a Navy SEAL or
he wanted
a writer?
to be a Navy SEAL.
Okay.
And I think along the way he said I would be a writer. Like it's... I see why Joe gets certain people on because they put their mind to something.
Yeah.
And they do it.
Yep.
Yeah, Joe loves determination.
And sometimes it's interesting and sometimes it's boring.
Hence the next episode.
We'll get to that after this. But yeah, that's all my notes for Mr. Carr.
Good guy. I give him a 1. Not him, the episode. I just... it's like a Navy SEAL every week now.
I give the episode a 1 also, and I'll start it by saying thanks for... fighting for.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, he's a night, but we had the same. It felt like we did this last March. We had the same episode.
We've done this before.
Yeah,
I give it 2.5. There's some interesting writing.
It is interesting though. Just I know we've said it already, but he's writing this thing about this pandemic, and it gets released right as the pandemic hits. It's
it'd be cool if Jack Carr wrote a book about me getting rich.
He's really a prophet. PROFIT $.
Gotcha. Profit.
A prophet. All right, so that's the first half. We're going to take a break, pay a bill, and we will be right back. We're back. Thank you to BetterHelp. Go check them out.
Thanks, BetterHelp. I was just saying to Matt while you were pissing that I find that we argue too much now, and I blame it all on Joe. It's because he has the same fucking type of guest on all the time, so we end up just having the same fucking arguments over and over.
I don't think it's the guest. It's the repetitive topics.
That's what I mean, because all the guests are...
It's everyone's hot take on the same thing. Whether it be woke culture, lockdowns.
If you're
homeless.
coming on this show, Kamar, because you've discovered a comet, you're going to talk about that comet. You're not going to have time to fucking worry about whatever the fuck we just talked about for 35 minutes.
Well, that is the saving grace of this next guest.
Oh, God.
Sadly, though, right?
Yeah, you're right, unfortunately.
There was none of those.
Nope, but
Yeah,
it was worse.
I know, but we need...
I'm sorry. Like, this is the alternative. Like, I guess it could be the guest or it could be the topic. But my biggest thing is the circular talk about cancel culture, wokeness, freedom of speech, tech companies, monopolies,
Masks,
gun control,
fucking vaccines
And COVID.
and passports.
That whole thing.
Homeless LA.
Oh, right. And
Well,
homeless
we
LA.
could have talked about that in this, but I say that because the only thing to talk about it is
In the Colion Noir.
Colion Noir, the darker studio.
Colion Noir.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First of 1635, Katie Spotz.
No, that's my thing. Let's do it again.
1635.
Katie Spotz.
Fuck, he's back.
He's back, baby.
Wow.
Now, you invented a term called TMP.
Too much philanthropy.
When someone tries too hard to do something. Correct?
No, it's when you throw too much money around. This is different. This is...
But the idea is you're doing it because something shady or nefarious.
Correct. Yeah. You think she's hiding something?
I think she might have eaten her twin in the womb.
And you base this on...
So she's the evil twin.
The classic question we ask whenever we have a guest like this, WH, why?
Yeah, why the fuck?
Why? Well, apparently it's because of 1 mile. She went to a course to get the easiest mark, ran 1 mile, and because of that 1 mile, we had to listen to this podcast.
Okay. Yes. Before we start, though, you're going to have to clarify for me that whole eating the twin thing.
What did she do bad that now she
Yes.
devotes her life to rowing across the Atlantic Ocean to raise money for clean water?
Okay. I'm with you.
Why is she doing that?
Agreed. Why?
She
Is this
ate
like
her
a
twin-
Garth Brooks? Where are the dead bodies, Garth?
She ate her
Where
twin.
are the dead bodies?
She ate her twin and she's repenting.
Gotcha.
I mean, or she ran over someone like when she was in high school. But she started this when she was like 19. Like she's just driven.
She's always wanted to fucking row. Dude, wasn't it so funny when Joe asked her where she bought it?
Off the last guy that did it.
That guy must have been so stoked, when she wanted to buy it.
Well, yeah, she said less people than gone to the moon had done it. And for a second, I believed that. But then she said 400. You know, they got the mix up of the allegedly going to the moon.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah, how many people have actually rowed across the ocean?
she was like 400 or something, which still
thought
seems
she-
crazy.
Okay, I'm gonna find out. Hold on.
No, you don't think that's crazy?
What ocean did she row across?
I used to sell weed to Bob Gainey's daughter, and her sister died at sea.
Rowing across it?
I don't know whether she was. I think she was sailing, not rowing.
That's weird because I think there was also a coach for the Canadians.
That's Bob Gainey.
Oh, that's Bob.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It was on one of those abroad things,
I don't remember.
But like, she'd be horrible to date.
Unless you like Time Alone.
No, well, no.
Or
but
side
she's
pieces.
like, what do you want to do today? So like, let's just chill out and watch a movie. Like, what? That's all you want to do?
Yeah.
Let's watch 500 movies. We'll run out. Like, everything has to be a venture, a challenge. And then thank God she's circled around and raised money for it.
Why didn't Joe ask her if she had seen UFOs?
Well, actually, to tie back in, that is the coolest part of this that you don't think about. That there's crazy glow-in-the-dark sections of the ocean when you're out there.
I've seen bioluminescence.
But do you know what you're seeing?
What do you mean?
Well, is it aliens? Is it fucking a chemical reaction? Who knows?
Well, no. Where I saw it, it wasn't like in the deep sea. It was in a cave in Thailand.
It wasn't pollution? Like
No, it's like
radioactive
phytoplankton
material?
or whatever it is. No, it's not radioactive material.
It just was like, when you think of rowing across the Atlantic Ocean, that sounds like the loneliest thing you could possibly do.
You couldn't pay me. I can't think of a dollar amount.
First of all, that brings all my greatest fears
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Except flying. But they have flying fish, so maybe that fucking evens it out. But you're alone all the time.
But
Just
she-
the ocean, and your thoughts.
But she would say she wasn't. Like, there's dolphins and like, it's a little weird, like Dr. Doolittle thing she had going. You know what I mean?
But she wasn't riding the dolphin. She wasn't talking to the dolphins.
I think it's more the plenty of the planet. Like, you think you do that, you didn't see one living creature for days, but she wasn't like that.
Wouldn't it fuck you up like you're this tiny little boat and there's like all that space underneath you? It's so fucking weird.
And at one point behind you and in front of you, like
Well, no, that's what I'm
Simon,
saying.
that'd be a great start to a zombie apocalypse movie.
You just end up in a boat. In
No.
the ocean?
You like went to like, you're like training to row across the Atlantic and you get halfway and some sort of fucking quick moving zombie pandemic sweeps across Europe. And
You leave and it's all good.
That's
but
what
when you get to the next place, it's like,
yeah,
this is not
it
what
is
I left.
not good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You would think you went through like a vortex or something.
Dude, it'd be I'm writing this one.
But just that, I was literally out there doing it. That was cool. I never thought about glow in the dark stuff.
Well, she said at that point, though, she's like, yeah, the stars were amazing.
Oh, that'd be nuts.
And then Joe failed to ask her, like, if she ever saw anything crazy up in the sky.
I guess that's reasonable, but I'm sure she was probably sleeping. Like, I'm sure she had to sleep a lot to recover.
That's an interesting
To
thing.
keep
Do you
doing
think
what
you
she
would
was
not?
doing.
Do you think you would not row at night versus during the day in the sun?
I think she had to row all the time.
Oh, I guess that's probably true.
That's impossible.
She got there like 70 days early or something.
At 3 miles an hour or whatever.
God, what a fucking snail's pace.
Well, that boat is ridiculous. Did you see pictures of it?
Yeah, it's insane.
But I was thinking maybe she could get an OnlyFans and fuck herself with vegetables. Like to raise money for water. You know what I mean? I think you try too hard.
Did you say fuck herself with water bottles?
I thought you said vegetables.
I said vegetables.
Yeah, I heard vegetables,
To
but
raise money to sell water bottles.
there you go.
But
So you're saying she should go the OnlyFans route as opposed to say rowing across? She would have just done triple the money and
there's just challenges. She could challenge
Do it
herself
from
on
the boat.
OnlyFans.
Do it from the boat.
Do it from the boat.
oh wow, that's actually fucking great, Simon. Do
'Cause-
it from the boat.
From what I understand, she has some secret adventure coming up
The naked rower.
that she didn't want to tell. Naked rower. Anyway, all I'm saying, there's easier ways to raise money in this day and age. She's gonna just go around the world, like row, bike, whatever it is. Right? That's what she's sort of in the middle of doing now.
I wonder.
Is she? I can't.
Not
say
as a
I was
total
paying
mission,
enough
but
attention.
Okay, well, it's cool for her, but she's running, walking, or rowing away from something. You know what I mean? And I think that might be eating her twin in the womb. Because she's
You're really sticking with that.
she's a
one,
go
eh?
getter. You know what I mean? Well, it's maybe she should try settling down or something. I think she isn't good at relationships, so she just keeps doing these things. They mentioned the word PMS, and that's an interesting thing, but I don't know what to do with it.
That was an interesting part
What?
where Joe was like, I want to be a woman. I'd like to be a woman for a day. I'd like to feel what it's like to have my period, get fucked.
This is the most interesting thing. Don't you at all?
Listen, I'm just going to be straight up honest. If I'm a woman for a day, I'm just going nuts on myself all day.
Yes,
Just free.
but you.
But yeah, for
that's
sure. I'd
what
like
you
to
do.
know what it would feel. Yeah, but I don't want to know what it feels like to be pregnant. Fuck that.
You
That
want to
seems
know
like a
what
nightmare.
it feels like to be fucked? Just admit it, Matt.
Only by you, Simon.
All these things
Only
are all
by you,
encompassing.
baby.
But she said if she was a man, she'd like to do chin-ups.
Yeah, I know that.
It was just weird.
Why? She can't do chin-ups?
No, she could do chin-ups. But
Can
she'd like
women
to go,
not do chin-ups?
She meant chin-ups with her dick.
Chin-ups as
Like
a
she'd
man,
wrap her
like,
massive
wow.
dick around the bar and do like,
I don't think she's that freaky, and that's why the OnlyFans might even have more allure. Watching her come out of her shell, so to speak. But the rest of it was not COVID, not freedom of speech shit, but what did you train? How did you train? What do you eat?
Which is even worse, man. Like I long for the COVID talk at that point.
unless you're gearing up to do this, yeah, this is a very
Oh my god, that is a very small percentage of people, man.
specific audience for this podcast. Now, what I will say, and it should go without saying, is that she's a good role model for women.
well, even that. I think Joe does it because he's just like, you should hear people that push themselves, and maybe they'll motivate you not to necessarily row across the Atlantic, but whatever field you're in, it'll push you to be better in it.
And I just found there was nothing remarkable about her story, but you just sort of do it.
And most people are like, yeah, just skip that one, asshole.
Listen, there's no way, no chance I would have listened to this had we not done this podcast. No way.
Could she date the guy that traversed Antarctica?
Oh my God, that was
We have so
literally
much in common.
that was the next thing on my mind. I was gonna say she should do a relay race with him, where like he does the Antarctic, she rows over to like Chile, and then some like just Cam Haines runs up Chile to like Mexico.
And then they bring Lance Armstrong back in for the last leg.
Yeah, and he bikes.
Vindication.
Yeah.
The thing is, that guy's girlfriend was his like business manager, so maybe she can't break that up. But it just seemed, I don't know.
You think it seemed forced, this one? You just can't. None of us can figure out why. That's all.
1 mile. I ran that 1 mile. I was like, wow, I did this. I wonder what else I could do. Like, she was serious when she said, Joe, maybe you'll row across the ocean one day. She asked, would you ever want to do it? I was like, no, I wouldn't. I was like, are you sure?
I mean,
you have your whole life ahead of you.
that is amazing, not from the viewpoint of like, oh, well, she did it, so I can do it. But just like you start with a mile and you end with rowing across the ocean.
And onward and upward, she's not done. She doesn't kick back and relax on this accomplishment. She runs ultra marathons and that stuff too. Like, there must be a common thread between, like, if Cam Haines doesn't have a wife. But you know what I mean? Like,
If Cam
you
Haines
spend all her time running. Like, she's...
But don't you find though that like I find this girl would more likely date like a fucking slob, like some dude who just like.
I think she'd kill a slob. Like, I think that would drive her insane.
No, I doubt it. I find a lot of people like.
Opposites attract.
Yeah, like a little bit of balance.
I just say if she wanted to do something and said, let's just watch a movie, she'd be so annoyed by that.
I agree with you most of the time, Maddie, but I find with fitness, it's like
All or
it's
none.
one of those
Fair enough.
dividing points. You can't, if you're a fit person, you want a fit person.
But look at Mary.
Vice
She does
versa.
yoga 6 times a day. Works
Yeah,
out.
but I mean, you're
hits the
not like
sauna.
a disgusting slob yet.
I
you
am.
know?
I am a fucking disgusting slob.
Well, I don't know what to
Well,
tell you
that
about.
means you can improve. I just mean by there was nothing remarkable about her and her insight into accomplishing stuff. Everything she's accomplished is amazingly remarkable.
I know what you're saying.
You know,
yeah.
there was
yeah.
there was this other like, wow,
Yeah, she
what
couldn't.
insight
She didn't give you any like any way to. She didn't give you any like specific thing that you could use in your life to push you to be better.
Well,
no,
she
I
just
agree with that.
communicated that if you want to accomplish something, you're going to have to suffer. Like,
Yeah, and keep at it.
and it's so cool that everyone has a breaking point. It's like, yeah, I guess that is cool, but to everyone to find that is not so cool and intimidating to some people.
I don't know. I mean, again, I think you should always push your limits.
I will never run 100 kilometers or row across the ocean.
I could. Do you know? I can't even imagine how long it would take me to run 100 kilometers. I can't run. I have no endurance. I can't imagine how long it would take me. Simon, are you a runner? You have the body of a runner.
No, I can't run. But you know what? Now that I've quit smoking, maybe. Like, I do feel so much... Like, I didn't like wearing a mask before when I was smoking. I found myself constantly like...
Short of breath.
Yeah, and now I feel like I could wear 4 masks.
And I do.
And I do. Fuck you, Kamar.
I could consider like motorcycle across the country, and I don't even ride a motorcycle.
That's fun.
So that'd be crazy. But
What are we even talking about now?
well,
Just things we want to do?
Well, don't forget our buddy Brian fucking biked across Canada.
that's what this is about.
Our buddy Brian biked.
Well, Kamar knows him because he's friends with Shannon.
I believe I'm related to him. I believe he's like a third cousin.
Oh, that's
or
right. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Who is this guy?
Brian Cameron. He went to
Terry Fox
Glebe.
the
He
bikes?
was younger than me, so you wouldn't know him. But he biked from Vancouver to, I guess, Newfoundland in the end, right?
And like you're too young to remember, but Rick Hansen,
Yeah, the runner.
no,
Oh.
he wheelchaired around the world. I'm gonna be your man in motion. You know who I'm talking about, Simon.
What?
You don't know who Rick Hansen is?
Higher and higher.
That was his song.
I'm not sure.
He's
I
a
do.
Canadian guy who wheelchaired around the
Oh,
world.
yes, I do know. Yeah. And then we have a skateboarder.
But actually,
too.
around the world.
Yeah. Around the well, across the country first.
Well, you can't wheelchair across the ocean.
I
What did
think
he
he
do?
took a
Like,
boat and just went back and forth.
Really?
Maybe.
Is that what happened?
Like Lieutenant Dan.
Maybe he flew to each land and just did
That's
the
fair.
land.
Yeah. That's what Kamar, when you said that, that's what I assumed. I assumed
I
he
guess
flew.
you could get on like a yacht or a Carnival cruise and just like keep going round and round and round each floor.
Or one of those
Just
huge
nonstop.
shipping boats. It probably takes the whole time to get from one end to the other that takes for that thing to get across.
Oh, those are, yeah.
I mean, if it takes 60 days for a person to row across. How long does it take to boat across? 2 weeks? I mean, seriously, I do not know. I don't know what.
I don't know either.
fast.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe a week.
I think it takes longer than that.
Are we talking? But you're talking about on one of those super liners or on a cruise ship, or
I don't know which one is faster, but that transpires. That cruise exists, and it can't be more than 2.
well, I assume they go at least 10 times faster than she was going.
Yeah. So it'd be if it
So
took her
70 days, 7 days.
16 days, something like that, 6 days. That makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. But again, we have no fucking.
We
I'm
don't
sure I
know
could
what we're
Google
talking
it.
about. The point is, Rick Hansen wheelchaired around the world. And
Was this pre Terry Fox or post Terry?
post Terry Fox.
Okay, so
But
Terry Fox is like the inspiration.
6 and 8 days, guys. 6 and 8 days.
between
we
6 and
go.
8 days, that's how long it takes to get across.
Generally,
You're
depending
spot
on the size of the ship. Yep. The Atlantic. I don't know what ocean she went across.
I assume the Atlantic.
The awareness these guys raise is way crazier than this, but maybe it's just a national thing. Like she sort of should be a hero, like an Amelia Earhart or something.
I feel like in this day and age, though, those sort of feats of strength just go like. They just go lost in the.
If she had done this 20 years ago, she might be huge.
Yeah.
Like, so many people are doing this now. It's
If it
just
wasn't for Joe, you would never hear about this.
never heard of
In a
this
million
person.
years.
Never.
And what she's done is remarkable and amazing.
And-
Why?
And totally fucking useless.
But if you went to a house party, like, oh, you got to meet Katie. She just rode across the ocean. Like, no, I don't. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I would be like, no, I don't.
send me out to get something from the store or whatever. Like, I don't want to talk to this person.
If you put Katie in front of me, I'm afraid I'm going to ask her why.
Simon just spends the whole party. No, what? Like why?
And she comes with, why not? You've never tried. Like, you know, when she's so said, I don't want to run a marathon. Oh, which marathon have you ran?
If she was
I haven't run a marathon. Well, then you don't know what you're talking about.
if she was like, I went out there because I wanted to be at night so I could see the aliens coming,
Whole different podcast.
I would be all over that.
That works for you.
That's a reason.
But I will say the one thing she said is endorphins kick in at some point, and it's, I guess, really euphoric to run.
Well, the runner's high.
But just as human beings chase all kinds of highs, that's just one of the more harder dedicated to achieve. But you get to this thing where you don't feel like you're working or running, which sounds pretty cool.
It's very hard for me to imagine.
You've
As
never
a person who has
you
never
guys never
gotten
did-
a high from running.
But you guys never did cross country?
No,
Yes,
I have
I did.
zero endurance.
I did, Kamar.
There was times you did cross country and you just felt like you could just run the whole thing. And there's other times where you'd run and you get a cramp or something and be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there was never a point when I was running cross country where I was like, this is fun.
Kamar, my mom ran a marathon. She trained a full year to run a marathon, and then she ran it. And I like kind of waddled with her for the last kilometer. She did not look like she was high or having fun at all.
But did she feel great when she finished it?
She says she doesn't remember any of it.
Did you knock her out at the end?
No,
of the
no.
race
She
or
just
something?
like she looked like it. I honestly thought it was going to kill her. I've never seen her. I'm not kidding, Simon. Like she had this little, those little Canadian flags you get. She was holding one of those. It looked like she could barely hold it up. Like it was, I mean,
She's proud she did it.
oh, she's proud she did it, of course. Yeah, for sure. But it like for the next 2 days, she couldn't walk. It looked like it fucking, I'm just saying the runner's high, I think, is something that you have to develop over like a super.
Well, and
Or
it
maybe
probably
not, I don't
doesn't
know.
happen
She'd
at
experience
the
it.
end, Maddie. It probably happens somewhere in the middle.
Maybe you're right. Yeah. I mean, as someone who clearly doesn't run.
And then that high has worn off by the time she gets to the finish line.
Some people want to push themselves more than other people.
For sure. And some people, present company included, just want to get their high the old fashioned way, you know?
yeah.
That's all I got on Katie Spotz.
Wow. I mean, that was really.
what-
I know. I feel bad.
There is nothing more to talk about.
I get
Matt.
it. I listened to the episode.
She
She
had-
rode across the Atlantic.
She had the golden opportunity to make this into more than it was, and she didn't take the bait.
She
and
had
we can't help
a
her.
secret project she didn't want to mention coming up, which I thought was sort of annoying. I don't want
Trust me,
anyone to
it's
know
not going to be anything interesting.
I'm running up and down.
This
a
time I'm
mountain.
going across the Pacific.
Surprise! It's going to be some sort of endurance thing for that no human being could do.
My hat is off to her.
All right. Well, I guess we'll rate it then. Simon, you're giving it a
Yeah,
1.
and again, this is so like good for her.
Yeah.
She's doing it for a great cause.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be jumbling up my fucking earways. Joe.
Kamar,
Sorry,
so what do you rate
I
it?
give it a 1.
Kamar?
Yeah, agreement, but I'll give it a 1.1.
Oh, he's Portnoying it? Okay.
no
It's a little mix of Portnoy and The Price is Right.
There's no reason for me to have listened to this. Great for Joe for putting it out there. Like,
I mean, again, it's only because this is a job for us that this gets a 1. If you're really into rowing or weird feats of strength,
or just pushing yourself.
No,
This is probably the one for you.
I totally disagree, Matt. I think even if you were totally into either of those things, you'd be like, this is super boring.
okay,
Next.
fair enough. I also am giving it a 1. So there you go.
It's a semi-agreement because Kamar needed to throw in 0.1.
Yeah. Well, he likes to fucking he rose to his own.
Yeah,
It's like
rose to
everyone
his
knows
own
the
beat.
rules.
Everybody knows the rules.
All right.
Okay, let's move on. Last one of the week.
Colin.
No.
What's the number?
Oh no. 1636.
Colion Noir.
Wow, that's you should take over the Patreon announcements.
There you go. Colion Noir.
Yeah.
Noir. I don't even know how he pronounces his own name.
And it's like this. There's gun violence every day in America.
Yeah.
It's just those last 2 weeks, it seems like it's been the worst.
It's been pretty bad.
Like, did you see what was the meme? Like, I almost missed the shooting because I was at the mall shooting. The one with there's like,
Okay, sorry, in all fairness, I don't know what you're talking about. What has happened in the past week?
Oh, there's been like every day there's been a mass shooting in the States. Pretty much.
we have the
There was one at a FedEx warehouse where the guy walked in.
mass shooting,
Yeah.
that one. But we have the George Floyd. Now, that has nothing to do with firearms thing, but that's created tension.
That's going on.
There's
right
a
now,
curfew
the
in
trial.
Minneapolis right now. They're just arresting people like with the military who are out past curfew.
Then we had the guy who shot up the Asian hate massage parlors, but he's saying, no, I just was doing sex workers.
Yeah.
Then we had another guy in a
But
grocery store.
he did target 3 separate Asian.
That's still gun violence, though. Whether
That's
or
all we're
not
talking about.
he-
I'm not trying to.
I know. I get it.
Then we had a shooting at a grocery store.
This is all in the past week.
2 weeks, I believe.
Okay.
Then we have the FedEx facility shooting.
Yeah.
Then we have I thought it was a taser shooting.
Yeah.
And we have the Chicago shooting.
So can we just talk about that taser shooting for a second? Because what the fuck? How do you not just that person? Just put that aside for a second. How do they have these two things that even resemble each other?
Oh, I think a normal person would say that they don't
Yeah,
resemble each other.
That's a design flaw.
No, but I mean,
You're saying a taser and a gun, why they're so similar.
just make them totally different.
And then you understand they said put the taser on your strong side, weak side.
Well, that I don't know about.
Well, the idea is actually put it on your strong side. And then that's the first thing you sort of reach for, you know what I mean?
Like you have a draw hand, Simon. You're a
right.
right-hand
so why
shooter.
would you ever be
so
reaching
put the
across?
taser.
Yeah, right.
Put the taser on the right side, so it's the first thing you grab as opposed to the gun.
But it's so is the argument that you can't then draw your gun fast enough if you need it?
Well, I don't think there's an argument. What Kamar's saying is a well-trained cop, I believe what he's saying is
the reflex would be to grab the other thing. Or, these are, because you get rid of guns. Some of us agree or we all agree that's what should happen, but I don't think it's possible. That's my position. So they just got to work around what it is that they're doing.
You don't think anybody should have guns?
No, I think America should be the way it is. They're allowed to have guns.
Well, how do you think it should be up here?
How it is. Like, I don't think we should let everyone have open carry guns like
Right.
you can in Texas or whatever. But
Well, you see in Texas now they want to have open carry without a gun permit.
you could just walk around with a gun.
Yeah, it's gone to like the Supreme Court or whatever.
If you're in America, then you're a boss. But anyway, this guy is pro-gun, and there's been so many stories about gun violence. It's just like,
Have you guys ever seen the movie? Sorry, we'll get back to that in 1 second. Have you ever seen the movie Basketball Diaries?
With Leo?
Yes.
with Leo and Marky Mark. It's,
Classic.
Yeah, it's a great, great movie. I was telling somebody about it the other day. They hadn't seen it. I'm like, yeah, go home and rent it right away. You can't find it anywhere, apparently. It's not on any streaming platform. You can't, like, get it. And it's because, do you remember the fucking school shooting scene in that? He has this, like, dream.
I think I vaguely remember
His
it, yeah.
imagination is him shooting up his class, and he's wearing this long black trench coat.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy, man. I totally forgot about that until the guy was like, yeah, I can't find it. Anyways.
Wait, if you watch Basketball Diaries now, that scene's been omitted
No, he's saying you can't
No,
find
you can't
Basketball Diaries
to watch.
on any streaming service.
on any streaming service.
And
correct.
I believe that was pre-Columbine, but I'm going to double check that.
It's got to be close.
Go on, Kamar.
Well, he talked about hunting the buffalo,
Yeah.
and that sounds cool and all. But
He had to shoot it so many fucking times, though. Like, it almost seems, like, aggressive, and, like, that's not what hunting is supposed to, like, you know what I mean? Like,
that seemed cruelty, but, or like, isn't there
Well,
a
I mean-
place you're supposed to hit it, or do you need a bigger bullet?
well, I mean, his argument was sound that he was trying to put it out of its misery. So, like,
The misery that I started putting it into. No.
Sorry, just to interject for 1 second. 1995 was the Basketball Diaries, and 1999 was Columbine.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if they used that as like inspiration. Sorry, go ahead, Kamar.
Did the guys who committed Columbine were
Watch
influenced
that,
by that?
movie. They wore black trench coat. He wore a black trench coat. I don't know, man.
Yeah, totally. There could be a
I've
connection.
never, ever heard the connection,
Me
though. It's
either.
interesting.
Me either.
But what's crazy is I'm sure come after the shootout in Heat.
Well, someone mentioned that 3 weeks ago, and I wanted to bring it up. That's
When
the
was
best. That's the best fucking movie shootout.
Well, no, but I don't know if it was before or after, but there's two guys robbed a bank in California with
Right.
full body armor.
Yeah, I
around the
remember it.
street.
Yeah, and they
I
ended up
don't know
killing them in the fucking street.
Heat
Oh,
is
yeah,
also
they were on
1995.
all the meth in California that day, but whether that was a copycat or inspired by.
Simon, check that out. Date of you said Heat was 95.
Yeah.
Just, Google L.A. bank robbery
I think it was
shootout.
San Bernardino, maybe.
Well, just if you type in L.A. bank shootout,
They had hockey masks and just
tons of ammo and armor and fuck yeah, it was
which
nuts.
is the same thing in the Heat thing when
What,
like
it's the LA bank heist? Is that
LA bank heist shootout.
Yeah, there'll be just shootout. L.A. bank robbery shootout. It'll be the top one for sure.
Well, and
what
that-
year was it?
I'm gonna tell you right now.
And that brings it-
1997.
So that was after Heat.
So they might have totally
Oh,
been inspired
they
by
were just
that.
fucking smoking meth,
Same
watching
thing.
Val Kilmer.
Well, and this is what it's all coming down to. He talked about killing the buffalo, adrenaline.
Yeah.
Do you remember last time you had a crazy adrenaline dump? Sorry.
I mean, I gamble a lot.
Does that get it up there?
Yeah.
I haven't felt like adrenaline in a long time. I don't think.
Really?
Like, it's interesting. these
Bullshit. You
experiences.
got chased by a crazy dude in a car. You felt adrenaline.
No, there was two of them. He was if he was alone, I think he might.
No, I think Kamar was very scared. You were scared, eh, Kamar?
No, I was just concerned they were going to have to fight, and I didn't want to fight anyone.
What a nobleman.
You know what I mean?
I would have been
Yeah.
afraid of guns at that point.
Well, not in Canada. Anyways,
Because that guy was not afraid of anything.
I think if anything, he would have just boxed them.
There were two guys in the car. They could have had a gun. He was not afraid, Matt.
Fair enough.
He took a bite out of your burger, and he's waiting for you to come back into the kitchen.
but it's like hard to do a positive activity and get that adrenaline. You know what I mean? Like you could jump on a plane,
Roller coasters.
roller coaster, squirrel suit or whatever. I mean, we know that for sure.
Well, that's why people do like, driving fast in their car, anything to simulate it. And then you can just get it the old-fashioned way with drugs.
Do you get adrenaline from drugs? Though?
Well, I think that endorphin release, it ends up being...
I think adrenaline is like it's a unique, almost like the runner's high.
You sound like one of those guys who wants to get the kid's blood.
the blood.
Adrenochrome.
Yeah.
The blood, Joe.
Oh, no, you just de-platformed our whole thing, Kamar.
No.
This whole episode is out the window.
I think it's more like some sort of activity that just gets you like excited and raises adrenaline. And I think you take it for credit because you do so much stuff when you're a kid, I guess, for adrenaline.
Just biking down the street, you mean?
Well, I saw even in the street in California, once a year, everyone just bombs down it.
That's in San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Yeah, it's
And it's surrounded with people.
it's so hectic.
And people are like lying
People
on their
eat
board.
shit
They're sitting
so
on the
hard.
board.
So-
or they make it down. But it's adrenaline.
At the
Like,
beginning of the pandemic, so I
Yes.
guess that's a year now,
Yeah,
right?
a little over a year. Yeah,
I decided, okay, well, I'm locked down. I have nothing to do because at that point I had nothing to do. I'm going to buy a skateboard and I'm going to start skating around.
Okay,
so
Tim
I
Pool.
bought, Tim Pool, exactly. I bought like a cruiser.
Can I ask you this? Did you buy it set up or do you set up yourself?
Did I buy it set up? Or
he
did
had
I
them set it up for
I
him.
had them set it up for me.
He lost.
I went to Top. Shout
You
out
gotta
to
put
Top
together,
of the
right?
World.
What? I put mine together.
I
yes.
bought like a Caballero, some like
Yeah, you bought a cruiser.
good wheel. Well, it's
Big
not,
fat wheels, soft wheels.
I got some nice soft wheels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, that's a cruiser,
They say,
100%.
yeah, it's a cruiser
Yeah, yeah.
for sure. Anyways, so I have a huge hill near my house.
Yeah,
And I'm like, perfect, you know?
and you got going way faster than you thought.
Oh my God, Maddie. I got halfway down that hill and was so fucking scared. So, Kamar, if you want a good adrenaline thing, just come on by my place. I'll set you up with the board. I guarantee you will fucking get a
Yeah,
thrill.
I think I like that. Like I think what would cut it for me is a boosted board. I think I might have almost felt it on one of those scooters because you feel pretty stupid out there. They're like,
I
Are you
think
talking about one of those one wheel ones where you?
I saw a guy whipping
I
the
saw-
other day.
I saw
It's probably the
dude.
same guy.
It's gotta be, yeah.
I never told you the story at the park. I was walking my dog one day and I see this guy cruising around on one of those one wheel.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. And he's cruising through the woods and I'm like,
It's gotta be the same.
oh my
fucking guy,
God, this
too.
is like the best thing I've ever seen. Anyway, so I see him as he's leaving and I start asking him some questions. And he's like, oh, do you want to try it? So like an asshole, I get on his fucking thing and I start going so fast on that motherfucker. Like,
But did you feel it, or were you like, dangerous? Get off, Simon?
what do you mean?
Did you feel safe on
Like,
it?
no, did you feel like I could?
I didn't
could
feel
do
safe
this?
on it, but if I worked, it would be cool. That would be a cool thing, man.
So a little bit of adrenaline dump there.
Well, it was just like, you can really hurt yourself.
Did you ask him how much that thing is?
I think it's like $2,000 or.
Yeah, I think you get a boosted board for like 2,500. Oh no, 1,500. Sorry, and it's sort of the same idea. I think you go 20 kilometers up a hill for like 15 kilometers or something.
Well, you know what looks really fun, but I realize isn't very practical is those like they're long boards, but they have like big like
For
BMX wheel
grass and
kind of
hills
thing.
sort of
yeah.
stuff.
So and you see the guys going down the
Yeah.
paths.
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah, the
forest,
off-road
and you're like,
boards.
that's fucking amazing, but you know in the back of your head, like that's not what it's gonna look like
When
you're
you do
doing
it,
it.
of
you know?
course.
Well,
Yeah.
also you can only go downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something you can pump across.
Nope.
But a motorized skateboard, that'd be cool.
It just goes against everything I was raised on. It's like pushing Goofy.
It's sort of like Back to the Future if you get a hoverboard.
Pushing
Like,
Goofy.
That's different.
No,
if
it
a
isn't.
hoverboard, no,
It's-
because
it's
hear me
the
out.
evolution.
But hear me out. A hoverboard was a part of my youth, whereas like that was like the dream was to have a hoverboard. So of course, if they come out with a hoverboard,
But a motorized skateboard was never.
no.
I guess I look at like those skim boards. You know what I mean? That have a motor on them, and you just surf on a lake.
The hydrofoil
Like,
ones,
They're like $1,500. They're
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
But it's so cool.
Would you longboard,
never.
Kamar?
It's too late for me, Si. Again, you can only downhill. No, I wouldn't. I'd rather ride a bike.
I've never longboarded, but you know,
And
if
listen,
if I wasn't afraid of people making fun of me, I would do it.
Yeah,
Because
well,
I was
I
just-
think it would be fun. But like the ridicule value, I think would be too much.
and I was just gonna say, if you longboard, there's something wrong with you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't care if you longboard.
Because
for me, Simon,
the whole thing is surfing, so that's as close to like street surfing as you can get.
this is the thing. Like, there's multiple different kinds of longboarding. Would I ever just like longboard to get around the city? No.
No, I'm talking about longboarding down a hill.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's like the speed.
and the practice you're going to have to do before you can get up to that point, people are going to see on it.
Well, I was just thinking like
Yeah.
going down that hill was too much. It's too fast.
Yeah.
So how can I do it? Well, the answer is with
Oh,
a
that's what I
longer
want to ask
board.
you. Did you get speed wobbles?
oh fuck, did I get speed wobbles?
That's the best.
And no helmet too, because I'm an
well, that's
asshole.
irresponsible,
You know?
yeah,
Yeah,
there you
I
go.
know, because I'm an idiot.
Four
Dude,
masks.
once you get-
four masks, no helmet over here.
Once
Yeah,
those speed
exactly,
wobbles,
Kamar, exactly.
once those speed
The
wobbles
hypocrisy.
start, it's just fucking. It's pretty much game over
Well,
at
you
that
have
point.
two choices. You're either going to throw yourself on the ground or you're going to fall on the ground.
Well, we don't.
Yep.
With that video, there's people who pull it off. There's people that bail, or there's the ones where they just come in a shot and they're like falling on their face already.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you didn't get to see the fall because
Well, the San
angles.
Fran videos are just those guys. That is a whole other breed of like
It's
Yeah,
a
they're
joke.
built. They're
being,
built
man.
different. It is just fucking
because they
psychotic
get
skateboarding
right
there.
through the wobble, and that to me is like even more than going down that giant hill. You have to really commit.
No shit.
to
What's
get
really
through the
crazy is
wobble.
like doing a line on those hills. Like a fucking, they'll grind, they'll do a trick, and then fucking
yeah.
You have to
bomb
be
down.
bored going down those hills.
Yeah, no shit. And they also have to have 6 spotters all the way down so you don't get fucking
if you're
murdered.
if you're lucky.
Dude, it is dicey. San Fran skating has always been just the wildest shit ever, in my opinion.
Well, that place is just like not really made for fucking pedestrians.
Have you ever been there?
I've never been.
I've never been there.
I've never been either.
I'd
I'm
love to,
judging
I'd
it all
love to
by
go.
pictures.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a pretty good mental picture of the town.
Well, I'm only talking about the skateboarding I've seen. I've never actually.
I was like 17 degrees here all year round or something.
We just summed up our whole podcast in that 1 minute.
I'm talking
right
out
there.
my ass.
This
We're
guy
all
went to
talking about San Fran. Have you
There's
ever been there? Nope.
a
Nope.
guy.
Nope.
A guy I went to high school with, and his wife moved there. That's my connection.
Well, you're an
to San
expert
Fran.
on
Yeah,
it. then.
I know more than
Okay.
all of us.
It's good. He's a doctor on San Francisco.
Might as well be an urban planner.
I got my PhD in.
In San Fran.
Yeah, thank you,
When
Simon.
he was talking to the buffalo, big things, he was talking about elephant. It'd be really hard to kill an elephant. Not
Yeah,
only
probably.
with the tools, but like you have to be cold-hearted or desperate to kill an elephant, don't you think?
Yeah, you'd have to be a real
you know what-
cold,
do you know what I
cold,
mean?
cold piece of shit
No,
to
I'm
kill
not
an
sure I
elephant.
understand what you mean, Kumar.
They're great, majestic animals.
So the majesty of it would be like
the majesty.
it's different from killing a rat.
Yeah, for sure. The
Hey,
rat's in your
you
house.
kill
You're beating
any
it to death
animal.
with a broom.
So may I indulge me then, Kumar? Where do we draw the line?
The lion at the lion, the king of the jungle.
So you're okay with dogs, you're okay with wolves? Like, no, I'm asking where for you.
It's a two-pronged thing though, because it's hard to kill because of majesty, but it's just hard to kill. Like you need a bazooka. Like, how do you kill an elephant?
You have to slit its throat.
Well, I mean, this guy shot a bison 15 times. I assume you just sit there and fucking that.
Well, if you don't have a
You
gun.
need a big gun. If you don't have a gun,
Well, they used to have elephant guns. Remember, that was a thing.
if you don't have a gun, you can't kill an elephant. If you
Well,
have
think about how they used to kill woolly mammoths, Kumar.
spears, but probably 5 guys.
Wait, yeah, it must
Or
have been
10 guys.
and they were risking their life every time. Their life,
Risking their life every.
They were risking
turned
their
into,
life every time.
Simon turned into a Wayfair customer service employee.
It's okay, sir. It's on its way. I feel you. Our service sucks.
But what you would get from a woolly mammoth would be like
Meat wise,
meat, the hide.
From an elephant
but without-
too.
I mean, I was gonna say
Sorry?
without refrigeration, but I guess you just jerky all of it.
It was the ice age.
They had a way to do it.
It was the ice age.
everything was-
You're living on ice.
Was refrigerated. What'd you say, Simon?
I don't remember. What
But anyways, it'd be a real score if your tribe killed a woolly mammoth.
yeah, agreed. You were the man. If you.
But
were
today,
the
if you kill an elephant, you're a piece of fucking shit.
It'd be very difficult. I'd try to look for something else to kill.
This is such a weird conversation.
No, he was talking about killing big things, and it's like you should. I think Joe was sort of saying you should have done it, but you could do. I have nothing problem with it, but you put an X on your
So, Kamar, let me ask you a
back
question.
as you do this.
Let's say you make it big time, you become super successful, and you go to have a meeting at Dave Portnoy's house, and you walk into his office, and there's an elephant head mounted.
Rock on. What are you
I
gonna
knew
do?
that was coming.
Everyone goes through a thing. No, I'm not saying I would judge someone who killed an elephant.
I
just-
would.
It's actually very hard to kill an elephant.
No, I definitely judge somebody who
Yeah,
kills an elephant.
for
There is
sure.
no reason for
Yeah.
you to kill an
if his
elephant.
name was Iko and it was for his tribe,
You're
like,
not eating
His
elephant
name was
meat.
Iko, and it was for his tribe. It's pretty specific, Kamar.
it'd be very hard to do it morally and very hard to do it physically.
There's a great book called
Especially a baby elephant.
The White Bone, and it's about elephants, like, and it's done from the point of view of an elephant,
Okay.
like Watership Down, you know.
Yeah.
But it's really good, man. Should check it out.
White bone.
The white bone, maybe.
The white. Okay, might have the.
Elephants are
I think
cool.
it does have the.
Then at one point, so they talk about cars.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Boo.
But someone said interesting things. I was talking to someone who's very anti-Elon
Yay.
and was just talking about the facade of Tesla.
Well, this Dogecoin thing is a disaster. What a mess.
I don't know about that, but it was more like how he's fooled people with Tesla.
Yes.
In that a car company comes out with a new model every year. He's just come with 4 models in 5 years.
And barely
not
delivers on them.
even.
And barely
He took
delivers on
money
them.
from people 4 years ago for a car that's coming out in 4 more years.
And can't produce them.
Yeah.
So it's like you get enamored by the fast car and the thing, but it's anyone else can step into space and probably destroy Tesla as a Netflix to come in and do blockbuster. Like, you know what I mean? If they start doing new models every year, able to deliver them
Yeah.
cheaper than his car.
But his whole thing is once the gigafactories are done, they will be able to deliver on Exxon. That's his whole.
He has this whole like
He's like
supreme
a Steve
thing
Jobs.
going now.
Yeah.
yes.
You know?
Limited edition Tesla.
Yeah.
Exclusivity. That's what it is. Access. This is what we're obsessed with now.
And if everybody had a Tesla, then would it be so cool to have a Tesla anymore?
And
Maybe he's fucking brilliant in his marketing. It's the only way.
Oh, he definitely is.
That's what two different people who don't know each other said. He's not smart per se in this field of. There's people who are building better electric cars than him, nicer, constructed, whatever. But he's the world's most brilliant marketer.
Oh, for sure. Simon, listen
The most sizzle.
Sorry,
Simon,
go
I
ahead.
read that if you bought $1,000 worth of Dogecoin in January of this year, yesterday you could have bought a Tesla with it.
Wow.
And that's all because of this fucking Elon. And dude, it's not worth a thing. They mint 10,000 of these things a minute. So there's no value to this. None.
And this guy has the
Speculation's beautiful.
the
baby.
ultimate out because you're like, oh, he didn't deliver on my car, this piece of shit, but he's trying to, get us to the moon and he's building the hyper tunnel and he's a busy guy. Like, bullshit, man. You're either running a fucking car company or you're not.
No, he's selling a lifestyle.
Because you know who's running a car company?
Ford. GM.
The CIA.
Well, you don't know.
Oh, I didn't get to them yet,
You don't know the person.
They-
I wish I could start whistling.
They,
What's the change?
they started... They have a lot of fucking irons in the fire right now. They finished making hit songs to bring down the wall, and then they focused all their attention on what Neuralink and getting to Mars and fucking the electric car.
So you put him. He's a year ago. He was further away from Bill Gates, but now he's like almost the same as a Bill Gates. And then what are you up to there? You're helping
I'm not.
too much nice?
I think
What are you up to
I
there?
think that Bill Gates might be like an evil guy, but he's an evil guy on his own time. Elon is like, I really think he's just a plant for the fucking.
Industry plant.
We forgot to mention how wrong Joe was there too, where he was like, how about Bill Gates buying up all the farmland? Number one owner. Jamie pulls it up. He's actually the 49th behind like Jeff Bezos.
Those are the funniest though when he's trying to like prove his point, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Okay, Jamie, look it up this way.
Yeah.
Bill Gates,
Yeah.
most
Largest
landowner.
landowner.
Article I read.
Totally. I couldn't believe it. I was like,
No, but it's-
Joe, he just pulled up something that
It's
totally.
Not only that, Maddie. Not only does Jamie like does his work and pulls up like 12 articles. He's like, I got them all here for you, Joe. They're all ready to go. Yeah, but did you look it up where you put like a capital on?
Yeah. And then later on, 2 episodes later, is quoting another article like it's gospel. Hasn't learned his lesson yet. Just like fully.
But he apologized about that one thing. That was so weird.
So weird.
So weird. What did he? What was it?
It's the flow of a podcast,
fucking-
man.
He was going against the libs.
Fact checking can be very, very detrimental when you're in the zone.
It's true. You really don't want to check your facts ever, actually. If I could suggest anything to the listeners. 2
Weird things is that podcast I try to have you guys listen to. At one point, that guy's dropping names like nobody's business and it's talking about how he goes to lunch with Elon Musk's mom.
Okay.
That's weird.
Weird flex.
That's weird flex. Super.
He goes to lunch with Elon Musk.
Yes.
Elon Musk.
And Did you see the Did you see the tattoo that Elon's wife got?
No.
She calls it alien scars.
I hate it.
And what is it?
I haven't even
Come on.
seen it.
It looks like she got whipped.
No way.
Yeah, I'll show it to you after, but
Wow.
it's like her alien branding. It's almost like a brand.
It's alien. What do they call that? Where they dress up in the leather?
Cosplay? Oh, no.
S&M.
It's BDSM?
There's a term for that, though, right? When you put it, it's so obvious, like you don't suspect it, sort of thing.
Yeah, there is a term for that.
It's
I'm
like
going to tell you what it is.
It's like the
tomorrow.
best psychological weapon you can do, which is sort of like what 4chan did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Q. Like we're trying to hunt pedophiles because no one knows how to get a pedophile than a pedophile.
The best article I read the other day was one of the people that stole Nancy Pelosi's computer from Capitol. This week, their dad got arrested on child pornography charges.
Well, that's always the interesting thing about when crimes or something happens. Like, well, was it a good person? You know what I mean? How they attack Floyd's character.
George Floyd?
George Floyd, or whatever. This would, or he got killed, but he wasn't that good
Yeah,
a
but
guy.
he was a piece of shit. He was high on
Or whatever.
fentanyl.
You know,
Yeah.
if all those kids in a school shooting were molesting children, is actually a
It's a blessing.
or whatever. There's no right or wrong when we all die. That's we know for sure. At one point, he's trying to, as we're defending guns here, and I think they will always be defended. But he said we don't even have the highest gun deaths per capita.
And Jamie pulled that out.
Well, but and he goes, well, who does? He goes, I don't know. Like it's a weird flex to be this gun guy. You should have that in your pocket.
The weirdest thing, too,
When
not
you
only
use-
should you
when
have that
use
in
that-
your...
when you use that statistic and point.
I agree with you. And not only that, they didn't even point out how bad the company was that they were within. You know what I mean? Like when they were like, look, we're not even first, we're 10th. It was like, okay, but who are you behind?
Venezuela,
like
El Salvador,
yeah, you know
whatever.
what I mean? Like these aren't countries that you want to be the bar as to like your gun deaths. Like,
Is it possible, though, that the powers that be want to do these lockdowns for the reset and control people? And in doing it the last year, they realized the one thing we don't have a grip on is how many guns people have.
oh yeah, of course. Listen, I think they should be allowed to have guns. I think we should be allowed to have guns. I don't give a shit. Have your guns. I don't think at this point there's anything you can do about it. So I also think Joe uses the whole like, we should interview the people that have defended their family. I have a feeling that it's far less than the people that have died to guns.
Well,
the
this-
amount of people that have successfully defended their family.
This is where I'm on two sides with the Minnesota shooting with the taser.
Yeah.
You'll hate me for this, he struggled to try to get away. Like he probably could have complied and survived.
Okay.
He tried to get away. She got excited. She actually shot him.
Dumbest thing ever.
They should show what a difference pulling people over makes. Because maybe they just shouldn't pull people over anymore. Like if you're driving, you get away with it, fair play to you. Because it seems like pulling people over is causing way more trouble. Because it's either this or the guy does have a gun and does kill them.
You're
and
just
gets
suggesting
away.
that they let every police chase away?
I don't know about the police chases.
You know what it actually is, Kamar? They did a big piece on, I know you're going to laugh at me, but John Oliver did a huge piece on police raids. And that's actually where the most shootings both ways happen. Where cops are getting shot and civilians
people
are
who
getting
don't wanna
shot.
get arrested or whatever.
Or not even people, or they've gone to the wrong house, like the Breonna Taylor type thing. And then people are defending themselves because the
would be-
no-knock warrant thing, right? Like,
That would be a different category. This would just be like, no more pulling. I'm a moratorium on pulling people over.
yeah, they wouldn't catch criminals then.
Okay, show how many criminals you catch that justify all these accidents happen where you do pull over.
I'm just saying is,
People.
I know that they arrest like 90% of the warrants they get are people driving around. Because they just pull you over because the tail lights out or whatever the fuck.
Well, I say take a moratorium on pulling people over, see if it makes a difference. Because this is the problem, the profiling, whatever, like, just stop. Like they said, they don't arrest people for $800 theft now.
That's crazy. That can't be true.
It is actually. I've seen Simon, the videos I've seen from California are in.
So you can just walk into any store you want and grab
Simon,
anything that's under $800?
I will show you videos. We could pull up hundreds of YouTube videos right now of like CVS's in San Francisco and LA where people are just going in with hoods on and just grabbing literally everything they need, toilet paper, toiletries, like everything they need, and just walking out.
That's a huge problem.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's a huge problem. So this is the
I also read another article, though. This is a very important article. Right now, many of the surrounding states that surround California are offering homeless people one-way tickets and food vouchers to go to California. So Joe's not talking about that either. The California homeless problem, the reason it's increased tenfold is because all the surrounding fucking states have less of a homeless problem now.
but
Fair enough, Maddie, but when you hear that number,
It's terrible. Listen,
and
it's
then
awful.
you're like, and how? And they're still, it's worse than ever.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Oh my God. It just goes to show you the total fucking breakdown that's going on
But we
in the
said-
matrix that we accept.
we said at the beginning of this pandemic that, look, oh wow, we could just find all this money to deal with this. Why not deal with the homelessness problem, right?
Well, they did find the money. They did find it, Kamar.
We got
More
like
than
$3 billion or something.
a
Was that the
fucking
number?
$1 trillion, whatever it was.
to help homelessness.
Yeah, they said they
they
it was
pulled up the numbers. It was-
$460 billion or $1 million.
In California.
Yeah, it was
Must
5.
have been million.
No, I think the number they said was $3 billion in fucking California, and then another like 3.5 in New York, and that's still they have the worst.
This is how much they're spending. They have to allegedly spend it as a budget.
Yeah,
So it's become
Take out
just
your
another
corruption, and
racket.
It's like $50 a head. Well, apparently there was an Echo Park in California that was overrun by people, and they found them all homes. But it's like,
This isn't the same. I was just listening to this thing about the dark side of rehab, about how rehab, because it's a private thing like medicine or like the prisons, then there's going to be this like group that's interested in getting as many people into rehab as possible. Now, I'm not saying that rehab isn't a good thing, but like it's just another way, like another fucking kink in the system. No, nobody's with me here.
well, I'm trying to.
I was trying to tie it to homelessness. Because this is what the big thing they talked about, and the Carr and this one. Is it, what is the solution? Besides, like, is it, how we get it? Is it something we have to stop? Because it's bigger here now.
Well, we don't even know
Along this street.
what the solution is, because according to Joe, they threw all that money at it and none of it got to even try the solution.
Well, but I would blame that on corruption and...
Well, I'd also like to hold on. I'd also like to go down there, or have someone go down there and figure out how many of them have serious mental problems, how many of them are addicted to drugs, because I have a feeling right away you eliminate a large swath of them right there. So if you can, like the drug problem, legalize them, then you can help people much easier. This is I know it's
our
ad
only
nauseum.
solution.
I know.
It's our only solution.
But they should do it. Okay. So they legalize drugs, and then you can help people with mental health too. You have to do both of those though, or else you're just putting the same people back on the streets at the end of the day.
It feels like it's growing here. If you ever go along this street,
Yeah.
there's more. And it's sort of like a different sort of, a younger person sort of seems able. More so, that, you know what I mean? If you look at your beggars or whatever, like they're getting younger and they look more able. I'm fine. Like it's nowhere near comparison to
$4 billion.
Skid
a
Row,
year.
whatever. $4 billion a year, they have to fight homelessness.
That's what's gone in the past 3 years. It's $7 billion over the last 3 years.
And
in
they have to give
California.
them a one-way ticket from California to anywhere else with food vouchers.
That's what they're spending the $4 billion on.
That's their solution.
Further bus vouchers.
Send them to Montana or whatever.
But I mean, that's the real problem if you think about it. Like, if you were going to be homeless anywhere in North America, just let's say 10 years ago, okay, so it isn't already overrun with homeless people. 10 years ago, if I had to say you're going to be homeless for a year, where are you going to say you want to go? It's always going to be, wouldn't it always be California?
Well,
Hawaii.
do you believe that whole thing that New York rounded up
expensive
all
there,
the
Sue.
homeless
You're
people
homeless.
and sent them to
It doesn't
California?
matter. You eat on the garbage.
I mean, listen, I lived in New York in 2006, and a lot of people that lived there were like, it was weird. Like one day there just weren't homeless people.
Well, and their homeless problem was directly related to the fact that Ronald Reagan decided, I think it was Reagan, decided to change the legislation, and like all of a sudden crazy people who were in those like insane asylums or whatever were put out onto the street?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd have to look into
I think
that.
that was a thing. And then they rounded them all up and sent them to California is the rumor. And I always thought that was crazy. But now that you're saying that, I'm like, if you came to a homeless person and was like, here's a bus ticket to California, you would take it because it's way better to be homeless in California than in New York City.
100%.
Just because of the climate.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. There's also more people, so you could argue you could panhandle if that's your, I don't know.
I wonder.
But either way, the climate alone, who doesn't want to live in always 20?
I think I'd rather be poor in the summer in New York than the summer in, or homeless in the summer in New York than the summer in Los Angeles.
I think the nights still get cold, man.
And get on a train for the long haul when I migrate. For the
You'd
winter.
definitely be one of those train
A hobo.
hobos. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but
If you're looking for that industrious, you just shouldn't be homeless.
Well,
maybe,
I mean,
but whatever.
that sounded really romantic for Jack Kerouac and the Beats.
it
Yeah.
seemed like when Joe moved, he might have been making a bigger deal of it than it is, but it's insane.
Oh, we forgot
really is insane.
to mention the term that Mcofsky said there, Texodus. I thought that was great.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Oh, she is. She's a wordsmith.
Well, no, but she didn't. She said
Yeah, she said
heard
she picked it
somewhere.
up off someone.
Well, that's knowing what you do. Pay respect.
Such a flip flopper.
The idea. Well, no, to whoever wrote the joke.
I get it.
But the fear is that these homeless people overrun and these places turn into these warless, apocalyptic states, right?
Well, I mean, it could if there's really 100,000 homeless people on Skid Row.
I mean, the stories I've been reading out of there are not pretty at all.
But-
like people trying to open restaurants and there's a homeless encampment basically stopping them from. And again, you're already in a pandemic trying to open a restaurant, which is a disaster.
You saw the video that Joe played?
Which one?
It was just like lawlessness in the fucking.
Well, Simon, I'm telling you.
Ghetto of the homeless there. Like that's there's nobody policing down there. There's no rules.
Plus, it's overflowing to traditionally nice areas. It can't be contained in this like off the track, like industrial
Well, it's-
area.
Dude, Venice is a really nice area.
Isn't it?
Venice
Was,
is a
but now it's-
really, or was,
now
yeah.
it's
But
crazy.
Well, and to what Matt was saying, it's right across the street from establishments.
And you want to convince people to get rid of their guns, like when no one will do anything about it. But what I'm trying to get to is, if the apocalypse happens, what's in your apocalypse arsenal?
like, what guns do I already have?
Well, do you have guns? Because you might run out of bullets. Like, you need something more versatile than a gun.
I have a brother-in-law.
I definitely do not have anything.
Joe said samurai sword.
Well, would be a great weapon to have.
What were you guys on your wish list?
Oh, I would take a samurai sword.
So you're saying you
And a
wouldn't
sniper
wouldn't
rifle.
go gun because of the ammo
I think
issue?
you have to have a gun,
To start.
but you just can't have a gun and like this.
You got to stockpile a shitload of ammo.
Yeah, I guess that's the one road you could do, which would be very difficult here.
You guys weren't listening, but samurai sword for your close combat, and then a sniper rifle, and that's how you preserve your bullets because nothing goes to waste.
But
See, here's what they should do
You
in-
still need a lot of bullets because if you run out of bullets, the gun becomes useless.
Well, here's what they should do in the
turn
States.
into a blacksmith.
This is what they should do. They should say, fine, everyone can buy a gun as long as you're doing it legally. We don't care. But if you're buying more than X amount of ammo, then you have to be on a registry.
Again, it's the same problem with lists, but that would curtail. I mean, that's what I said.
I'm just saying, it's somewhere in the
guns are
middle.
problem, the bullets are the problem.
So just humor me for a second here. The problem with owning a gun in the States is that nobody wants to.
They don't want there to be a record of who owns a gun
And why is that?
because the Nazis kept records and lists.
It's all that same thing, and we have it here, and it ruffles feathers.
No,
The long gun registry, and one of the things is like if you're conservative, you can hide behind the fact that it costs a lot to run this.
if you have to take a course,
Like the gun registry, you mean? Yeah.
if you have to take a course, but then you're allowed to get whatever guns you want, I just don't see what the problem with that is.
I don't have a problem with that either.
And you get recorded. I think the best idea
But
is
you're getting what you want.
I'm fine with a background check too.
Yeah, of course. I'm trying to figure out.
Well, they have that in the States too. In most states, they have a
Is that
background
what
check.
people don't want though, or do they just they don't want to give them any guns, whether you get a background check or not.
Right now, they're trying to take away all semi-automatic rifles and I believe handguns, which would leave you with just like hunting rifles. That's kind of their goal.
But
I mean, let's also say this. I
they
just want
have to stop producing. They can't take. Like,
I just want to say this too. Like, if you're American and your argument for the Second Amendment is the whole like tyrannical government, your government has outarmed you 6 trillion to 1, just for the record. So if you think that like you have all these semi-automatic rifles and that you're good to go in case the government comes, I have so many examples that just say the opposite. But I still think you should have the right to have your gun. I'm not anti-Second Amendment.
unless those
buy and hold your
soldiers
guns.
turn on the government.
Yeah, but history has proven that rarely happens, oddly enough.
So whether the government knows that you have a gun or not,
Yeah.
how is that going to help them if you already have the gun?
Well, their argument is this. Like, let's say you, Simon, you exercise your right and you buy 500 guns,
Okay.
500 semi-automatic rifles, okay?
Sure.
The argument is that when they know that something's coming down the pike or when they decide, time's up, they will just show up at your house preemptively because you're on a list. They have your address.
Right,
They
but
know where to come to get the guns.
But I have 500 semi-automatic rifles.
I'm with you. This is the cyclical. This is what I'm saying is,
So I still got what I wanted.
yeah, I'm with you.
I just, again, it's kind of like the passport. It sucks. It sucks that you're going to have to like put your name on this list to get a vaccine that they know about.
But that's a good example is like the same people, like those people all probably have passports and travel and are okay having a passport and their name being logged and checked. It seems like the same thing to me because like I said, your government has outarmed you.
You think gun owners match up with vaccine passport people?
I'm not talking. No, I said regular passport, a passport to travel. You cannot travel.
He's bringing a different point into.
I'm just saying a passport is something that has existed for a long time. Americans have them. We have them. We accept that you can't get into another country without a passport.
Well, it's like you need a license to drive, but nobody makes a big deal about that.
And guess what? They know where you live. They know where your car
But this is what I mean. It's so
what I'm saying.
weird.
That might be a bit of a pushback because I bet most Americans don't have passports.
And in the end,
I don't think they're a very traveled country.
if you want to go traveling, you need to get a passport. We've all agreed to that. If you want to like get your gun, then you sign up for you're getting your gun. I don't understand what the problem is.
I'd be
if they're
surprised.
saying you're not allowed to have guns, that's a whole different argument. Or whatever. If you're not allowed to drive cars anymore, that's a whole different argument. But if in order to drive a car, you got to get the license, come
Listen,
on.
I've said I'm fine with a gun registry. I don't really see the issue because I've laid out my
It
argument.
feels like only criminals would want to hide from the gun registry.
I mean, I don't agree with that either because it seems like a lot of law-abiding Americans fight it as well. So I'm not going to go there with you.
But that seems to be because of there's a piece of paper that says we're entitled to this, so we're entitled to this.
I read an article the other day too that said Jefferson actually wanted to change the Constitution every 17 years to better reflect the current society.
Well, how could that not be a thing?
Yeah, I mean, again, they have amended it, right? That's what an amendment is.
But that should just be built in like a fail-safe in a computer program.
I can't argue with that either, Simon. I think it should probably be,
But again,
more,
because
but
it's written on a piece of paper from 300 years ago, we're going to follow it. Like,
But
we'll
Simon,
follow
hold
that
on.
paper to the letter.
The argument-
But the Bible,
But the argument, though, is, wow, you're really pro-religion today. The argument, though, is like, if you just keep amending it super easily, then what stops them from amending the First Amendment a bunch of times to where you really have no free speech? I mean,
I guess I can see that.
I'm just
point
playing
of
devil's
view
advocate there, too,
I can, but the idea is that, the whole thing is based on electing people that you trust.
Well,
Those people
we
would
know
have
that's
to-
gone out the
I
fucking
don't know.
window.
It's crazy. We're really caught in this
It's a weird catch-22, yeah.
matrix.
Simon's doing big time
In
air
air
quotes.
quotes.
Yeah.
No, because I really feel like I'm getting that guy's theory all wrong. Guaranteed.
I'm sure you are, yeah.
But I've melded it now into a theory that makes sense for me.
Okay.
And yeah, that's this set of rules, because that's really what a computer program is, just a set of rules. It's a set of rules that has been implemented for our program, which is the real world.
Or the Matrix.
I think the thumbprint makes the most
Or
sense.
the Matrix.
A thumbprint for...
Only your thumb can operate your gun.
or your car or anything.
But then your thumbprint is logged. It has to be logged somewhere,
But
which
someone else can, or someone could steal that, and
that's what I'm saying. It has to be logged somewhere with your identity.
that's a great plot for a movie.
I will say this, though.
Thumbprint
Hold
is
on.
pretty good though, as like you need it. You should have a key and a thumbprint. You know.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but Alaska is potentially moving to the blockchain for voting.
Well, there you go. That'd be great.
That's a disaster.
No,
No,
I disagree.
That'd be good unless something goes wrong. Then it's a disaster.
Well, okay. Yeah, in that case. But I mean, I just don't see if it's built on the proper blockchain how it could be a
Yeah,
disaster.
all the gun laws, just like the voting laws and everything else, is technology changed so far.
Yeah, I don't know.
wonder-
Disaster is probably a bad. It's. I don't know enough about it. I just. I don't know, man. I don't know if I trust anything.
Could you see Joe having James O'Keefe on the show?
Who is James O'Keefe again, Kamar?
He was the one who had the
Is that the
CNN
Seascape guy? Oh, no. Okay.
he's Project Veritas,
Sorry. Yes.
and he does all the hidden camera. Some would say entrapment, but it seems pretty legit what he has people saying. In this case, it was the CNN guy who's saying we totally got Trump voted out, and he got taken off Twitter.
He should totally have O'Keefe on. I told you, I heard him on The Portal.
James O'Keefe.
Yeah, and it's a great episode because he takes a pretty he asks them all the right questions, Kamar.
Eric does.
Yeah.
Do we not assume, though, that there's probably, like, at this point, Spotify has some veto power?
Would Spotify be like, no, we don't want you? I think it's possible. He may be on a blacklist or something of people who they'd rather Joe not have on. Or I wonder if Joe looks as a brand now. Like, we don't know if Spotify had those episodes taken down, or maybe Joe did. And they both were behind each other.
Yeah, that's a possibility, too, yeah. I never thought of that, but sure. That would be smart of Joe.
But
Like War Machine's a good one where I could see Joe being like, I'd rather there maybe wasn't a record of this interview.
disassociate, just like
he was on a couple of times.
stop producing the Dr. Zeus books. They're offensive. Like, we're not banning them, but we're like,
Yeah, we're doing
no
it.
need
Yeah.
for this to go out.
Yeah.
Yet he had this episode. Like, it just
Seemed a bit tone deaf,
maybe
maybe.
ballsy. But again,
But you would argue if you're pro gun, this is the perfect time to have on a pro gun guy. That's Joe's argument, I'm sure.
what my conspiracy, if I believe in conspiracy theories, would say is, it seems like gun violence is really in the news. It happens all the time. I think they could choose to show stuff or not.
I told you, Kamar, there's a mass shooting in Chicago every weekend, and you never hear about it.
Well, what do you think about what he said then, that they use it to...
No, I agree for
to their
sure.
means.
Yeah,
They-
the media is definitely choosing what fucking gun stories go out and which don't because
Because they're never going to tell you about the story where the guy used the gun to protect his family.
it's not only
Never
that. What I'm
makes
saying
the
is like
air.
all the gang violence in Chicago where 3 or 5 people are shot, you just don't hear about them because the news doesn't tend to care
Unless it's a cop shooting someone.
or getting shot. Yes.
Because apparently the 13-year-old had a gun, but I think it might have been planted. Have you seen the footage of that shooting? The
No.
13-year-old? He runs up to him and goes, "What's your head?" Boom. Like there was
So yeah,
but it's totally on.
It's terrible.
It was totally
on the body cam.
on body cam, and they claim he's throwing a gun. The gun ends up upside down in a weird, like, hey, cool. It landed
Oh,
that
look at
way.
that. Yeah.
It was from someone who just running it, but he's a 13-year-old who got shot dead
Remember that
4
video?
or 5 days ago.
Remember the video where the cop clearly is planting that gun?
Yeah.
Do you know which video I'm talking about?
There's first of all, there was a cop in Florida that they got for planting like fucking. They had to overturn 150 drug cases because this guy had planted drugs on just everyone and their
A
mother.
regular old Mark Furman.
Yeah. Sorry, Simon. Keep going.
It's okay,
though.
that was it.
Oh
It was
yeah.
just a crazy video. It's like right out of a fucking movie.
I mean, the weird part is Joe this week. Let's put this in context too. Joe this week, they talk about how corrupt the Rampart division of the LAPD was on one episode. And then in this episode, he chastises LA for getting rid of the gang unit. And it's weird because it's like this gang unit for the last 30 years has been running amok. And you know that. You said it 2 episodes ago, and now this gun guy's on, and you're like, and they got rid of the gang unit. Like, I mean, I haven't looked into it, but maybe they just like change the gang unit so that the rampart's fucking gone. I don't know. It's weird.
I think his point was like you're taking away money isn't the answer. Because that's his stance, and I think I agree with that too. I think more training is the answer.
Yeah, but again, if you know you have one arm of law enforcement that's corrupt, you should usually get rid of that arm of law enforcement.
Or just get rid of everybody in it and make it, if the arm is...
But even then, rebrand. That's the big thing. That's every corporation does that.
But if you want to believe that the corruption stuff is going to make you want to get a gun.
Listen, I'm pro-gun. You should have a gun. Get a gun. If you are allowed to buy a gun, you should probably go buy 3.
I think it would be smart considering how quickly we've seen things change in the last little while.
Yeah, go buy a gun.
It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to be prepared. I don't know what that means for everybody, but legally be prepared.
But I'm going to say this. I think if you go out and buy a gun, you should also then go and train yourself in all the proper cleaning, safety, and precautions of that fucking gun.
If society crumbles and everything falls apart, you'd be happier to have a gun than not.
Yeah. But like Simon said, we need a license to drive a car. I don't see the difference in needing a license to have a gun.
I think you do in most states. It's just having it to do it federally. Isn't that the problem?
Well, no, it's the
Biden
registry.
wants to come and say this.
It's the registry they hate. They don't want to. They just want to be able to buy a gun quietly.
They know everything.
But the weird thing is the
about
background
us
check.
already.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you.
Again, this is so silly. I just, as long as you're getting what you want in the end.
Well, again, that goes to Kamar's stretching of the power, doesn't it?
And all this is being done with immense fear and pressure. Like, just do whatever you got to do. I just want this to go back to normal. Maybe.
That has nothing to do with the guns, though.
If
Kamar's saying it might, based on the
news turns on the top and all of a sudden there's all these shootings, but they happen anyways, but they just didn't cover them. And it's just to push a narrative as a conspiracy-minded person.
I like how he slouches when he says
I'm not
it.
actually saying this, but then it would be, oh my God, let's make this decision because I've seen so much of this fear porn, if that's what it is. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's what they do, Kamar. We're all in agreement there. That's what the media does. We just finished saying that, right? That's Colion Noir's whole fucking stance.
Well, like I said, they're not going to show you that a bunch of kids in the fucking hood in Chicago got shot because you don't care. You're like, well, I'm not going there. It doesn't affect me. Whereas if you hear about someone getting shot at their workplace at FedEx, you're like, whoa.
Well, you dismiss this, Matt, but they also don't show you when something good happens when a gun is involved.
We need a gunman saving people's lives, saving
But that's
their
not true
property.
because we know about. I've seen that video of the guy in the church a million times. I saw it on the news. The guy that shoots the gunman, the old guy.
We need more stories.
But again, they might not exist. Like,
really, you don't think?
I don't think as many as you
People
think happen.
protecting their own house for like just cause?
Let me ask you again, though, Simon. So let's say someone breaks into your house. You're asleep, okay?
Yeah.
They have no interest in waking you up, raping you, killing you, nothing. They just want to steal.
Yeah, who knows though?
Okay,
but go on.
But who knows? This is where the interesting argument comes. Who knows?
That person broke into your house while you were sleeping.
Okay, so you go downstairs and you shoot them dead.
Okay.
They've lost their life now.
Yeah.
Now, again, they were just there to steal.
I mean, I don't know that they're just there to steal.
But you see the
parameters they are.
But you see the but there are parameters because not everything is just everyone who's coming into your house is there to rape your daughter or kill you.
Very specific specific situation you're trying to create. And of course you should kill someone just for
Okay, fine. I'll give you another great example. There was a guy in Florida 2 weeks ago or a month ago driving down the road. A guy is fucking aggressively on his ass, pulls out in front of him, flashes a gun out of his window. That's it. Just flashes it as he passes him. The guy pulls out a gun while driving on the highway and fires a full clip out his front windshield at the other car. So I ask you again, like, you could say that. You could argue for sure that guy's defending himself, but it seems like if he just didn't have a gun there, everyone would have been just much better off, right? Or if he had just had a little fucking self-control. And that's the worry, is that this guy has a gun. He's firing it on the highway out the fucking front windshield of his car. I can't even...
Okay, but sure, that's a crazy situation, but that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about you being asleep and some guy breaking into your house.
I get it. And
But he's not there to hurt you.
so,
But how the
so
fuck
Simon,
do you know that?
Simon, but find me, okay, so let's go. Find me 50 of those stories a year in the States. Find me one a state.
Where somebody
That's what I'm
breaks
saying.
into your
They're-
house to do something bad to you?
Where the
and the gun
did a
defended.
good
That's
job.
what I'm saying specifically. I know people's houses get broken into all the time. Holy fuck. I'm not retarded.
No, but I'm saying people's houses get broke into for nefarious reasons more than just stealing your television.
Of course.
But we need those. If we were to be on the side of get over our fucking face, we want to keep our guns. We need these stories to push our narrative on how valuable these guns are in making a safer society, as well as I said, positive stories of, well, the guy's headlight was broken. We pulled him over. Turned out he had 5 kids in his basement.
Sure. Let me also give you the example, though. So let's say I want to rob Kamar's house. I know Kamar has 5 guns. Do you think that's going to stop me if I really want to rob Kamar's house? Or do you think I'm just going to get guns and go and rob Kamar's house?
It's a deterrent. If you want to rob my house, you're probably going to rob my house.
Yeah, you're backing my point up there.
I mean,
we don't
if
even
I was
think
a
about that.
robber,
Yeah.
I would find the houses that don't have guns to rob before I rob the ones with guns.
But again, if you're in the
That's
States,
where
aren't you
registry
going
would
to,
come in
if you're in the
handy.
States, aren't you going to assume every house has a gun?
well, I guess, and
But
I guess
and
they-
houses still get
I
broken
don't-
into all the time. That's
Yeah.
kind of my point. The deterrent.
So, but I don't. I just sure.
Listen, I said
I'll agree with you. but
All I
what's your
said was,
point?
I'm just saying, I don't think it happens as often as Joe makes it out to be, or as you guys are making it out to be, where someone successfully defends them and their family. Like, again,
No, I'm skeptical too, and bring them forward.
What I'm asking-
Colion on his
I think by a-
mission to
Simon,
have somebody.
numbers-
let me ask
game,
you this.
you're gonna-
Let me
that's
ask you
gonna
this.
happen.
How many people need to get saved a year for the 10,000 gun deaths to be
Okay,
justified?
That's a different question. But yeah, okay, I'm with you.
But that's what I'm saying is it's kind of like if 10,000 people die because of gun deaths and 50 families get saved from a robbery or a rape or whatever, I just don't know that the balance is
okay,
there. I know that if you're in
sure,
that family who
but what-
saved yourself, you're like, the balance is perfect.
Right. And my contention is you should be able to have a gun if you go through this rigorous training to get said gun.
I said that,
and then
Simon.
that would limit a lot of that shit.
I
right?
completely agree. But there's also people that fly off the handle. Think about it. There's also people that are calm, that go to the training, that train properly, and then get in a weird scenario where maybe they would have normally gotten a fist fight, and instead they pull out a gun and shoot
Yeah,
someone.
and that same person, Maddie, has a license to drive a car, and they could run people down anytime they wanted. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
People get run down a lot.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we willy nilly give people driver's license.
This
and
would have been
that's
it.
a
Well,
license to kill.
I mean, I
as far
agree
as
with you.
I'm
They probably
concerned.
should tighten that up as well.
This would be interesting if we were back in the days of comments.
What, on the YouTube, you mean?
Oh, whatever. But it's very hard. The clips now you can still find it. You might be able to get an idea. But if people are like, because I don't know what the sentiment here is or down there in America is, but it just seems like there's been so much gun violence. Like it's like
Well, I'm sure if you went to the comments, it'd be split down the
they're
middle.
arguing. I wonder, or what
I
if
think
that
it
was like been moved that we got to get rid of guns because it's never going to happen. We get caught.
They have too many guns to get rid of. So, like
no,
I said,
so then the answer is to somehow figure out a way to like make people accountable, right?
well, that's what law is supposed to be for. I'm just being honest. Like, that's what it's supposed to do,
That's
right?
what a registry would be for. It would make people accountable. I'm failing to see beyond like a conspiracy thing where you don't want the government to have your information. Which, how
That's
big
it.
is that like swath of people? You know,
Pretty big.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. I mean, not conspiracy based, but they're just like, why does the government need to have more of my info? Why do
Like
they?
I'm a shitty conspiracy theorist, I guess, because I'm okay with it until it like literally interferes with my life. So I would fight until they were like, well, then you can't have a gun. I'm like, well, I want a gun, so I'm just gonna do what I need to do to get the gun. I don't know, man.
I mean, listen, you can use the baseball bat argument all day too. You know, a lot of people get assaulted with all sorts of knives. We don't outlaw knives. Well, I mean, a concealed knife will probably land you in jail, but
Yeah, I mean, you can have fucking 14 baseball bats in your car. You can probably have a crossbow in your car. I don't know the
I don't know about that.
laws, but really?
Well, I mean,
You can definitely have a bow and arrow in your car. I could get out of my car in a road rage and fucking fire a whole bunch of arrows into your car window. No doubt about that.
no doubt.
I could have a slingshot in my car.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that's
Actually,
what
I don't know if any of that is true.
oh, whatever. Come on, what are you looking up?
Some people were saying that Brazil is the worst.
Yeah, but again,
Gun death violence.
I don't.
whatever.
If I'm in the States, I don't want to hold myself up to Brazil right now. Like that's a pretty ugly.
They only got
scenario.
#1 for COVID. They might as well go for gun deaths
Let's
too.
go. Let's do it.
And another mention that you can't always trust what numbers are coming out of Mexico.
Oh, of course.
As 000, who knows how many people die?
Yeah.
And are known about.
Even then, they might just fucking. It might not all be gun deaths, but I imagine deaths in Mexico just across the board is far worse. Beheadings. Who knows?
Pick your poison.
People buried in the desert.
And that's all my notes for Colion
Pick your
Noir.
poison.
All right. Well, I guess we'll rate this one. Simon, we'll start with you.
1.
Kamar.
Give it a 2.
Yeah, I give it a 1. I just didn't. This week was not my cup of tea.
You may not agree, but he's not an idiot. You know what I mean?
Listen. It's not even that I disagree. I just didn't need this. He's been on before. I didn't need the
Cars, watches.
Yeah, it
guns,
didn't seem like anything
homelessness.
different. You know,
I wish I had paid more attention though, because I really would like to hear a rational argument about if
He
they're
doesn't make
if
one.
they're willing
No,
to give you your
No, for the
gun.
registry.
For the registry.
hides or puts behind like it's un-American to do this.
Yeah, I refuse to let that be the
Well,
Either
good thing
way.
you're not American.
good thing, I guess.
either way, I'm not anti-gun. If you're American and you want to have a gun, I think you should, as long as you own it legally. And I'm with Simon. I don't see the issue with the registry, but I don't live there. It doesn't affect me. Don't get mad at me. Do your thing. I hope you have a gun. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you use it safely. Is that it? We're done. Wow. Another fucking week, huh? We made it.
Actually, funny
Looks
story.
like we made it. Go ahead.
I went over to a friend's house.
Yeah.
And we're like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm spray painting the guns so they don't look like toys anymore. And we thought he was joking, but he was actually like Nerf rifles sprayed in matte black.
Well, that makes them look
Trying to
more
get his
like
kid
guns.
They look
killed.
totally like guns.
Jesus Christ.
I thought it was hilarious. Be safe out there.
All right. Well, that was another episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you made it this far, that's incredible. We love you so much. Thank you to BetterHelp. Go check them out. Use whatever code I told you in the ad. But thank you to BetterHelp. We have multiple social medias. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. It's at JREE Podcast. That's at JREE Podcast. You can follow Kamar on Instagram.
At Kamar Babar.
There is a subreddit. It's r/JREE Podcast. If you want to join the party, you can interact with us. You can give your 2 cents. You can shit on us. You can post whatever you want on there. Have fun. So join now. That's r/JREE Podcast. There's also YouTube. If you want to watch the show, it's youtube.com/JREE Podcast. I will tell you to subscribe. Kamar will tell you to like, hit the notifications, and subscribe.
The bell. I think that's important.
Okay. Join us on our quest to get to 1,000 subscribers on there. We're moving along. We're moving and shaking. And then, of course, the Patreon, where you can find the post-show every week. It's the show after the show. Go to patreon.com/JREE Podcast. And you can join for as little as $5 a month. Help support the show. Help us re-up on gear. Maybe get a better garage. Maybe make Kamar rich and famous. Or just rich.
Get Maddie a drum set so he can follow his dreams of being a percussionist.
I'm glad you remembered, Kamar. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So if I hit it big, you guys going to get me a drum set? Like if I hit it big for us, is that?
That's the first we made it thing we're gonna get.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Before the PJ.
Okay. Oh, the personal jet?
Personal?
Private?
We
Whatever.
smoke the grass.
That's it. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. And as usual,
Keep your eyes open, folks.